Hey, guys and gals, and welcome to the return of the watch alongs on Sunday. Uh, Now, just as a reminder, I am doing the watch alongs and the movie munchies every other weekend now, just to give myself a little break, time to refresh, and all of that good stuff. Um, and Gonna have to have a little bit of a different setup tonight because I only have the DVD to Back to School, which does not want to play in my drive back here. So that happens from time to time, but never fear. So I don't have to keep switching back and forth between windows. And why I didn't think of this before, I'll never know. But I have my tablet, my Samsung tablet back here. It's on Tubi. It's queued up to the MGM logo. The line is getting ready to growl real big. But I think I'm going to have Chris on here with me tonight for this watch along for back to school. And I'll probably talk a little bit to allow Chris time to get on. Now, because I'm using the non-commercial free Tubi. And any of you that use this link, if you don't have your own copy of Back to School to follow along with, we're going to have commercials. Sadly, I'm going to have commercials as well. However, this isn't going to help you guys too much, but Steve's going to help me get the commercial free version of Tubi on my tablet so I can, have the tablet back here if need be. If for some reason one of the movies won't play in this drive back here. So, Blissful, I don't know if I said I was going so fast. I don't know if I said hello to you, but hello, and I am glad to see you in here. I hope we have a few more people in here. Now, I know it is Mother's Day evening, and people might still be celebrating with their mothers, or they may be coming back from visiting mom, and mom might not live real close. So, I totally get all that. I didn't have as many for the movie Munchies earlier, where I made Norma Bates homemade cinnamon rolls. But as I said during that stream, it's all good because this stuff is on the replay. You can go back and watch it. In fact, I talked to my own mom earlier today to wish her a happy Mother's Day on the day. And I mentioned that I was going to be making the cinnamon rolls on the movie Munchies today, and that it was her homemade recipe I was using. And she said she would watch it, but her internet's not that great right now. And so she'll have to watch it on the replay as opposed to watching it live as it was going on, which is perfectly fine. And also, if you guys, I'm not going to pull it out of my Return of the Living Dead uh, drink cozy, but if you've never had these bucked up energy drinks, you can see the deer's horns there. That's why they're called bucked up and not anything else. But this is a Miami flavored one. And what I told Steve was this one tastes like a tropical drink, a tropical boozy drink without the booze. So if you want the taste of those tropical drinks, but you don't want the booze in them, here's the way to go. This Miami flavor is really good. Okay. So what else can I talk about while I'm waiting for Chris to come on here? Progress is moving forward with the Deadites on Deck shop. I started putting candles on there a little bit before I came on here. After we do the watch along, I'll try to do a little bit more. And I have, oh, I'm so happy. I wanted these for years. I got like whiskey barrel, like small whiskey barrel. It's like a half whiskey barrel planters. I got two of them. One's wooden and one of them's a resin. That's why I'm going to be putting my herbs in that I'm growing for these blended teas or these tea blends, whatever you want. Oops, sorry. I hit. I went to hit something on my tablet so it wouldn't go dark, and I accidentally started the playback of it. But anyways, So I'm getting stuff, it's moving ever closer to being completed, or at least completed where people can go on there and peruse the different products. And then of course I will be adding products here and there as we go along. um Yeah, I love my planners. I'm actually, I'll actually take some pictures of them when I can remember and when I get a chance, Blissful, and I'll send those to you. I'm really excited about, starting this venture with making these blended teas. Um, but let's see if there's any. I'm kind of trying to stall for time because I want to definitely give Chris time to get on here. I'm going to just make sure he hasn't sent me any more messages or anything like that. Yeah, he saw them, so I suspect he will be here. He will be here shortly. Ah, and there he is. See, that's what happens. I talk about, they'll be on here soon, and they're always here now. Chris is a little more polite than Uncle Bill is. Uncle Bill will be flipping me off backstage and doing all kinds of things. At least Chris is nice about it. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and add Chris here real quickly. Hey, Chris.
Hey Dana, how's it going?
Good.
But I'll comment on what you just said. Uncle Bill would flip off his own mother
He
on
better
Mother's Day.
he better not today.
No,
Because
I'm kidding. He better not. His mom's a sweet lady.
yes,
She wouldn't deserve that.
no. In fact, most people's mother wouldn't deserve that. I mean, I'm absolutely sure of it.
Hey Blissful, how you doing?
So I saw your pictures, Chris. By the way, from
Oh
FrankenCon,
yeah,
they were really cool. I
yeah.
was like,
Like I did the when I met Michelle Bauer first, and I just I just did a picture, and then she was like I said, she was really nice, and then like I didn't hear what she said first, and I was like, and I just felt like because when like, she came to take the picture, she like put her arm around me, and she said something, and she was like pulling me in like towards
uh,
her, and then I realized what she said. She said cheek to cheek, and she wanted me to put my cheek up to hers. And then I just asked her if I could have like a regular picture too, and she said, "Yeah, absolutely." She would have took as many pictures with you as you wanted, but yeah, they came out really good. I was happy with them, and I only had to pay $20 each to take a picture with them, which is more than what it used to be years ago. But everything has a price nowadays. But
yeah,
I'd rather done what I did. Took a picture with each of them individually, than had to paid the price they were asking for the photo op with all three of them together, which was
yeah.
$150.
But that just goes to show you, though, Chris, that these conventions could still do the photos at the table thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that just goes to show you they don't have to necessarily just offer the photo ops.
Yeah, there are some people that don't do that though, like Robert England, Sam Raimi. I guess some of the bigger name
I'm
guests.
not sure if that's their call or their management's call.
Well, it's a little bit of both. Just kind of depends. You know, sometimes most of the time it's the management because it's just a suggestion they make to their client,
Mhm.
and they'll just say, "Hey, you have a really long line here. If you're doing both autographs and photos like at your
Right.
table, it's going to like increase the time of waiting." Um,
Mhm.
but and like I said, most time when that's the case, it's their management. But there are some times like when the celebrity is like, I don't think I want to do photos at my table. I'll just do photo op because in that case, it's more money for them too
Mhm.
because the professional photo op is significantly a lot more
It is.
than a photo would be at their table.
Mhm.
Um, but it's a business thing, Dana. I get it. I'm sure
But
if
it
I
doesn't make us too happy sometimes, but
well, no, it doesn't. But it doesn't make me happy that my groceries are twice as much as they used to be. But that's just how it is.
mm, but you do have, some guests like William Catt, for instance.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
William Catt did photo ops with George Wendt
Mm,
for House,
uh-huh.
but he also allowed me to get a picture with him at his table. Now, I'm not going to say it doesn't cost because it does a lot of the times, but it's not as much as a professional photo op.
Right. Now I will say this. Now, see, William Cat is he's managed by a guy that I'm friends with named Dominic Mancini. Now, Dominic actually used to be a member on the Dead Pit message boards years ago under like Full Moon something was his
Uh-huh.
name, because he's a huge fan of like the Full Moon Charles Band stuff. And so that's what he named his agency is it's like Full Empire or something. Like he
Mhm.
mixed like the Empire that Charles Band worked for and Full Moon. I think it's just Full Empire Productions. So he manages William Catt and George Wendt and Andrew Divoff from Wishmaster and a bunch of people like that. And usually, majority of the time, all of his clients will offer pictures at the table.
Mhm.
I know Sean Clark's clients do a lot of that too. Just
Right.
depending on who they are, though. Like some of the bigger ones, like he has, like Sean's client is Norman Reedus. Like
Yeah.
Norman Reedus has like massive lines, so they kind of have to. Well, we'll just do like pro photo op for him, and he just does autograph his table. So yeah, it's a confusing business, and I'm glad that I'm not in charge of all of that stuff,
Right.
because I'm sure it's stressful on the fans, sure, but I'm sure it's just as stressful, if not more, for these agents and promoters and stuff too.
Yeah. Um, so anyway, I guess in a couple of minutes we'll go ahead and get started with
Mhm.
back to school. Now, I have mine queued up and I have it on Tubi because my DVD that I have would not play in my drive back here.
Oh
So,
no! Why? I
yeah,
wonder why not.
I think it's just the drive. I don't think it's the disc itself, which I'm going to upgrade to a Blu-ray here soon for back to school. I just haven't gotten around to it. Uh,
Yeah, I still got to pull it up on Tubi myself here.
so if anybody is watching it on Tubi, or even if you're watching it on a disc, I've got mine queued up to the MGM logo. The lion has got his mouth open. He's getting ready to roar.
Roll.
So we'll give everybody a couple of minutes to get queued up. So we'll all be having commercials tonight, I would
Yeah.
imagine. 'Cause
I think it works a lot better that way too sometimes. Like if we're all watching from the same source,
right.
that way, but sometimes that can't be the case, like sometimes if there might not be one of these movies we're watching on streaming, so we just kind of have to go and go. But like, I think it does work better if it is like available on Tubi or something, and then we all watch it from that way, like because those commercials will probably hit at the same time for everybody.
It's weird, Chris. I've noticed that sometimes when I've done watch alongs with people and we're all watching it on Tubi, for instance, everybody will get commercials at different spots. It's
Oh,
very
really? Huh?
strange.
Wow.
I don't know what's going on there. But I got smart. I finally got smart. I was like, why don't I bring my tablet in here, my
Hmm.
Samsung tablet, and have the movie playing on my tablet on Tubi, and then I can keep this screen up where I can see the chat and all that. I don't know why I didn't think of that before because tablet is plenty big enough for me to watch the movie on. So
So,
I don't
so
know.
did you do anything today, Dana, for Mother's Day with your mom, or talk, at least talk to her or
I
anything?
did I did call my mom and I wished her happy Mother's Day and she got her other gift in yesterday. So I sent her like 3 different gifts from Amazon and just had them delivered to the house, to their house. And she really liked all of her stuff. I got her like a lavender bath set. She's already used the lavender and taken
Mhm.
her a nice relaxing bath in it. And I got her a little wooden music box that has a very nice verse on it about me always being her little girl, no matter how big I get. And I got my mom or my dad a watch last year for his birthday or Father's Day, one that kind of indicated that I would always be Daddy's girl.
Well,
No
that's
matter how big
good.
I got.
I like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I got to see my mom today, and then and we got her like a fern
Oh, that's
for
nice.
her porch and stuff, and so I got it wasn't very long, but I did get to see her and get to wish her, give her a hug and stuff, and tell her Happy Mother's Day, and then pick some stuff up for Candace too, like some candles and stuff to let Noah give to her for
Oh,
Mother's
that's
Day, and yeah, and Candace is out with her mom right now. They had to take our nephews back to Louisville.
right.
Because they've been coming and staying with us for the past few weeks. Like they'll come down on Friday night, and then they'll be here all Saturday, and then on Sunday around like 3 o'clock or something, we have to go meet with their mom for
Mhm.
them to pick them back up in Louisville. But it's been a good day. I think it's been a really nice day. I actually got to go out and do some yard work today, and I got to cut the grass and stuff. So
It
it
was
really
a
needed it.
nice day for it, I think. Nice and sunny and
I've
stuff.
been waiting all week to do it, but it's
I
rained
know,
all week. And
exactly.
I finally got. I said I got to get this grass cutter. It's going to be above my knees.
Yeah, or but gosh, some people around the neighborhood here, I, I know that they want to mow it, but it's like every time you think about mowing it, it gets starts raining again, and
Yep, that's how it
people
goes.
just can't. And I think it's supposed to rain either tomorrow or Tuesday around here again. So oh, fun, fun. But Steve actually took me out to eat at Texas Roadhouse for
Mhm.
Mother's Day early
Ooh.
yesterday.
Yeah, you tell me that last night.
Mhm.
Because I asked you if you got any of the rolls that they give you.
That's right. Yeah.
Um, there's a guy I work with. He loves Texas Roadhouse. His name's Billy, and he uh, he says whenever he goes to Texas Roadhouse, he asks the same thing every time, and they've only done it for him one time, and he couldn't believe that they actually did it for him the one time, and that's because they bring you a basket of rolls, like maybe like what 4 or 5 or something
Yeah.
in there. He Every time he says he goes to Texas Roadhouse, he says, "Don't worry about bringing me a little basket. Like he just bring me the whole tray of rolls out with you." And he says he asked that he said it only worked one time. They said they actually brought a whole tray out for him, and he couldn't believe it.
Did
But
they charge him any extra or did they just
no, apparently they don't charge you for those. So
wow. I
I
mean,
don't.
I know they don't charge you for the basket, and sometimes they'll bring you another basket out if they
Right,
notice
right.
you've ate them all. They say, "Would you like another
Well,
basket?"
yeah, that's why he did that because he said he didn't want him to have to going back and forth because he said he planned on eating as many as he could. So he said, just bring a whole tray out for me.
uh, my mom also got some flowers today. My dad got her, or either he got her flowers today or yesterday. He brought her some real pretty flowers. So she got quite a bit of stuff for her Mother's Day, and
Good, that's
um,
good.
Steve also got me some rose tea that came in a little glass container.
Rose tea.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have me some tonight. I haven't had me any yet, but I'm gonna try it out tonight. Um, probably after we do this. But I guess if everybody's ready, we'll go ahead and do the countdown, and we'll get started with this movie. And hopefully, I won't louse this up by doing this on my tablet. But here we go. So 3, 2, 1, press play. There we go. I know the line is growling.
Yeah, this will be the first time I've ever watched this movie, so I'm excited.
Well, I discovered that there's even more people that'll be familiar. Adrian Barbeau is in this.
Oh my gosh! And how
Uh,
have I not seen this? I love Adrian Barbeau.
Jason Hervey is at the beginning of this. Jason
Really?
Hervey, of course, played Wayne on Wonder Years.
Yeah, and he's also in Monster Squad.
That's right, he is.
EJ, I think is his name in Monster Squad.
I couldn't remember his name. I remembered him being in there. So you're doing better than I am, Chris.
Yeah, because I always remember because the character Horace in Monster Squad when he's like when like the creature is out on the street coming towards Horace has got the shotgun and then like EJ and the other kid are like behind like this door and they're like he's like EJ and there he is right there.
Yeah, yeah. There's Jason Hervey, and he's playing
Rodney Dangerfield's
the young version of Rodney Dangerfield's
okay,
character.
cool.
And he's bringing us a report card to his dad, and his dad is not too happy.
Ooh, yeah, that's something I was not always excited about doing was bringing my report card home. Because, well, when I was younger, when I was about that his age there, I did okay at school. But when I got in high school, I did my interest in school started declining fast, and
Right.
I wasn't like focusing as much in my classes.
Oh, shoot. There we go.
Something happened to your stream?
Well, I hit something trying to fix something, and I may have to ask you where you're at, Chris.
Okay, right now it's just showing like the images, like they're just scanning through, and this is a paperclip production, an
Okay.
Alan Metter film. Rodney Dangerfield. Back to school. Just let me know when you get caught up. Burt
Okay.
Young. Keith
Yeah,
Gordon.
Burt Young's in here too. Everybody is in here.
William Zabka from
Yeah,
Toy.
William Zabka, the typical
This
bully.
has got an excellent cast.
Yeah, Keith Gordon. Like I said, I think I might be just slightly behind you, Chris, because I just seen Robert Downey Jr. and William
Adrian
Zabka.
Barbeau.
Yeah,
Emmett Walsh. Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Terry Farrell. And Ned Beatty. Wow.
yeah. Everybody's. I've
And
never
Danny Elfman did the
met.
music. Wow.
Yeah, Danny Elfman did the music.
I don't know how I've never watched this then because this is incredible.
I think you may actually see Oingo Boingo performing in this. If
Really?
I'm thinking right, yeah.
Do they perform Dead Man's Party?
I think they do.
Really?
They
Awesome.
do.
That's my favorite song
I
by
could
them.
be wrong, Chris, but
Oh,
I
and
was
Harold
thinking,
Ramis is the executive
yeah,
producer.
yeah.
And did he do anything else on is that or is he just the executive producer? Well
I
no,
think
he
it's
did screenplay. He did the screenplay too.
yeah, that's right.
And Rodney Dangerfield wrote the story.
Hmm.
Chuck Russell produced this.
Yeah, yeah,
Chuck Russell directed Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
yeah.
Alan Metter, directed by Alan Metter. Cool. Are you a large person? Pleasantly plump? Elvis throw you peanuts?
I love Rodney Dangerfield. I always have loved his comedy. I mean, some
Yeah.
people may not, but
There's Burt Young, the limo driver.
mm,
Polly from Rocky.
yep. And also from Amityville Horror too,
Yeah.
or Amityville too.
Whenever I'm like, yeah, and I know him for both those, but like when I immediately think of Polly from Rocky though, because
Mhm.
that's probably one of my favorite film series ever is the Rocky films.
Are you at the part where they're like sitting there at this big table yet, Chris? And all the
No,
food is
Rodney Dangerfield just walked into this building. Uh,
okay.
Now you just walk to the door where like they're all eating in there.
Okay. I'm gonna pause it for just a little bit and let it get.
Okay. He
Can you
just
let me
sit
know
down.
when he's talking to him?
Yeah, yeah. He just sit down, and there was a guy with the cigars talking, and then let's see. Now just cut back to Rodney Dangerfield. He's sitting there, and he's talking back to that guy, talking about the transfer title to the corporation, and see.
Let me know when they start talking about the Melon Patch Kids.
Okay, I just said it. We call them Melon Patch Kids.
Okay.
Those are like horrifying toys.
That's a pretty scary toy, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Like you should go back with those chubby tubby tub toys.
But all that food on the table just makes me ill almost because there's just so much of it. I mean, that everybody can't get out the door. They're trying to go to the door at the same time. We're gonna see Keith Gordon
Yeah,
here.
there is Keith Gordon on the phone with him.
I absolutely love Keith Gordon. I think I was in love with Keith Gordon at one time.
This will probably be like the second movie I've ever seen with Keith Gordon because I just always just knew him from Christine, and that was pretty much it.
Have you seen The Legend of Billie Jean?
Not in many years. I
Because he
don't
was
remember
on.
is he in that.
He's in that. He's the rich guy that they kind of break into his house, and he says, "I'll become your hostage," and they take him along with them.
Yeah, I've never. Well, I have watched it, but it's been like I said, it's been a long time, so I don't really remember a lot about it.
And we're going to see William Zabka here, and there he is. William Zabka made a career for himself being a bully in these 80s films.
Well, looking, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Like if you watch Karate Kid, like initially, and he is the bully, and that's why we perceive him because the main character is Daniel. I'm at my first ad break, by the way.
I am
Um,
too.
but
It's showing
but
some kind of slots or something.
but the main character is Daniel in Karate Kid. But then, like as it gets into the series of Cobra Kai,
Mhm.
it's from the main perspective of Johnny, and it kind of makes it looks at it from a different perspective of as if Daniel was the bully the whole time. So
Mhm.
it's really
It is
interesting.
strange. Yeah. Okay, I'm still got commercials where they're talking about Duck Duck Go and Google.
I'm showing the Masked Singer.
I saw The Masked Singer, and now I'm seeing Google versus Duck Duck Go.
Okay, now it's going back into the movie now.
Okay, mine's gonna take a little bit longer, I guess. We'll manage to get caught up here. Hey, Blair. Okay, now I'm back to the movie and the limos driving around.
Okay, let me pause it just for a second. Then
Hey, Candace. Candace is under the Death by Stereo podcast.
so when he says lay off Vanessa, she gives great headache. Tell me when you get there.
Okay, yeah, I think that's where he just said it. Yeah.
Okay.
to Burt Young there. And there's Adrian Barbeau.
Oh yeah.
Adrian Barbeau's playing the typical bitch part here. She's
Much
not a
like how she was in Creep Show as Billy.
yeah.
I don't know. It'd be hard
She's
to
not
top
quite
that. She was.
quite as naggy as that, but she,
Yeah.
you know.
I love Adrian Barbeau though. She's a sweetheart too. If you're, I don't know if you've ever have you ever met her?
No, she's one I want to meet though.
She was at Scarefest again last year. I've met her probably about 3 or 4 different times though.
So I think all Adrian Barbeau is really interested in is Rodney Dangerfield's money, um, and having these parties and stuff like that. She's not interested in him. But I love how he makes jokes about all this stuff. He's like making fun of her. And he wants some booze, and she told the guy not to let him have any booze. And unfortunately, he's going to discover that his wife is not being faithful to him. This scene's so funny, though. She's up on the countertop.
Isn't that what is that guy's name?
He looks
That's not,
familiar.
that's not Robert Picardo, is it? From
Mm,
Gremlins 2 and
it may be.
gosh, I gotta look that up because that looks like him. It is okay.
Yeah,
He,
so there's even more people in this
mm,
movie.
he played, and I'm just looking at the cast, and there's even more. Edie McClurg's in this.
Yeah.
Kurt Vonnegut who makes an appearance as
Yeah, Kurt
himself.
Vonnegut does make an appearance in this.
Kurt Vonnegut. I wasn't always pronouncing Kurt Vonnegut for some reason.
I mean, I may be pronouncing it
I'm
wrong.
no, I'm one that's probably wrong. Sam Kinnison's in this.
Yeah, Sam Kinison. Sally
Wow.
Kellerman's on it.
Dang, there's some good people in this. It's a nice looking sandwich.
I know. And he's just like he doesn't care anymore. He's just like he just pulls that out of his mouth and then it's gonna shake that woman's hand. Evidently, Rodney Dangerfield really did. He was a nice guy, I think, but he really didn't care. What you thought of him or anything. He was going to be himself. Because I heard stories about behind the scenes on Caddyshack. That what's his name?
From Caddyshack, Chevy Chase, Bill
Uh,
Murray.
no, the old guy that I always get his.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I don't. I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of what his name is either.
I always get confuse his name with the guy that played Jason in Friday the 13th Part 4. I always get the name wrong. I'll look it up. That way we'll know here. But anyway, he made that guy so mad
Oh,
because
Ted Knight.
Ted Knight, that's right. One time I called him Ted White. That's the guy that played Jason on Friday the 13th, the final chapter. So,
Did you know that Ted White was also a stunt double for John Wayne?
yeah, I think I heard that. Yeah.
Well, I learned that from him. When I met Ted White at Friday Night Film Fest back in
Hmm.
2009, 10, whatever it was. He had a bunch of pictures of him and John Wayne together.
That's funny.
What he just did that big huge flip into the pool. Like it's obviously not him doing that flip.
Candace says, just getting back in town from taking my nephews home. Happy Mother's Day, Dana, and to all the other mothers in the chat. Whether your babies have 2 or 4 legs, you're appreciated. Well, thank you, Candace. I appreciate that. And I hope you had a great Mother's Day, too. So now that and this is his second wife. I think his first wife, that's supposed to be the mother of Keith Gordon's character, had died maybe, and he had gotten remarried to Adrian Barbeau's character. But so now he doesn't care. She's messed around on him, so he's going to go to his son's college to visit.
And just make sure I'm clear here. Like Keith Gordon is his son, right? In this.
Yeah. But Keith Gordon doesn't want his dad, he doesn't want his dad coming to see him because his dad thinks he's on the swim team and he's not. He's just their towel boy right now.
I think even if like you're someone that young and you're in college, especially on a college campus, even if you're not, lying about anything or hiding anything from your parents, I mean, it's just I'm just speaking from experience. Like I don't know if I want my parents even coming on to the college campus to say.
Yeah, I don't think many kids probably would want that. And I think this is so funny because this is all girls. And he's looking for his son. That's
That's the
typical
thing.
Rodney Dangerfield stuff right there.
I know this cop from somewhere too. I've seen him and some other stuff.
Mhm. And there's Keith Gordon and Robert Downey Jr. What do you think of Robert Downey Jr.'s hair and his outfit?
It's very 80s. It's like I don't know. Have you ever seen Repo Man with Emilio Estevez?
I don't think I've seen that one.
A guy in that has kind of hair like that. Also, kind of there's a guy in the movie The Wraith. Have you ever seen The Wraith?
Yeah.
Charlie Sheen.
Mhm.
One of the gang members, one of the guys, he's like the one that's they're in that junkyard and he's like huffing gas or something. He's got like streaks, like colored streaks in his hair and stuff like that.
Right.
But it was a very 80s thing, with the new wave stuff and going on and
Of course, his dad is in there. Well, he also didn't want his dad finding out that he wasn't in a fraternity. There's the Pretenders back there.
yeah, I was trying. That's my typical thing when I go see like a kid's room or something. I try and see what all's on their walls.
I love Robert Downey Jr. too.
Yeah, I really do too. And like I'll be honest though, like I didn't pay attention to a lot of his work like around this time, except for like Weird Science and maybe a couple others. I didn't still really start taking notice of him until he did the Iron Man movies,
I
which
don't
is
think a lot of people did, to be honest.
that those movies really changed his whole career and life pretty much because he was like going at that point right before he started doing those Iron Man films. he was going downhill bad with like, because I think there was something, I can't remember exactly what he got in trouble for, because he had to go like to jail and was in court
I
for it.
don't
And
know
then
if it
like,
was drugs or what it was that.
yeah, I'm not sure, but I know he was into like drugs and alcohol and stuff real bad at one point, but he turned his life around,
Yep.
and anybody can do that, if you try hard enough, I'm sure.
And Chris probably doesn't think this, but a lot of us ladies would. Robert Downey Jr.'s hot. I ain't even gonna lie. But I think Keith Gordon's cute too, and because Keith Gordon is like that typical like nerdy, sweet guy that I'm attracted to. Not
Mhm.
that Steve's necessarily nerdy, but you know what I mean. That I like those nerdy qualities, goofy, nerdy qualities in guys.
I seen something the other day on my Facebook that Keith Gordon is doing a private signing here soon. Um,
Oh, cool.
and I can't remember who he's doing it through, but I would, if he doesn't do conventions and stuff, if I knew he didn't, because I think he has done a few in the past, but I would like to get something signed from him from
I would
Christine.
just like to meet the guy because
Yeah,
I just think he's done stuff behind the camera too as well, like in later years he has. And
which I
speaking of
know that.
Ned Beatty, there's Ned
Yeah,
Beatty, by the way.
yeah. I love Ned Beatty too. He's in a lot of. He played. I want to say he was Dan's dad on
He was Dan's
Roseanne.
dad, yeah.
Yeah, I love Roseanne though. That's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Me too. I have all the seasons of the original run of Roseanne.
And I don't like talking about the last season though. So,
No, I don't either. I was going to say that's probably my least favorite season.
well, it's so weird. I know they're bringing the Christine car back this year for Scarefest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I mean that doesn't mean they're going to get anybody from Christine, but I'm just like hoping they might announce Keith Gordon or
If
something.
they announce Keith Gordon, Steve's got to take me to Scarefest because I want to meet that guy.
Dean Martin, great speech.
And of course, you got to have the guy that doesn't like the main character, and this guy doesn't like Rodney Dangerfield.
hmm You know, and watching this scene right here makes me wonder if this film was an inspiration for Billy Madison.
That's a definite possibility. I hadn't thought about
Because
that.
as you know, in Billy Madison, he's like this rich guy that owns his company's son, and so Billy Madison was all he got through school because his dad was paying off all the teachers and stuff, and so he's going back to school like and to try to do it legitimately. And there's like a guy that works for his dad that doesn't like him, is trying to take over the company and everything. So that's why that scene right there just kind of reminded me, like, maybe I wonder if this was like a inspiration for that.
Maybe one of the makers of Billy Madison, or maybe even Adam Sandler. Maybe he watched this or something.
Well, Adam Sandler is definitely a fan of Rodney Dangerfield, because if you've ever seen Little Nicky, Rodney Dangerfield is in that movie with Adam Sandler as Lucifer. I guess he's Little Nicky's grandfather.
Right. I've got another commercial
Yeah, I
again.
mean, yeah, it just went
You
on
got
mine
one
too.
too? Okay.
But I can already have a feeling that I'm really going to like this movie.
Well, see, again, I like introducing or helping people get introduced to movies that they haven't seen before. That's why I try to show a variety of the movies on these watch-alongs.
Hmm.
I don't know what the dogs are barking about, but
And here's Roddy, or I'm sorry, here's Robert Downey Jr. again with a very interesting hairstyle.
I'm probably gonna have to get caught up with you. I'm still on commercials. And
Okay, I can pause it for a second. Just tell me where you're at.
I don't know what these dogs are doing. At Food Stars, I tell you what, they got so much stuff. Okay, now I'm back into the movie. They're coming down the steps. Dogs, I think. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. definitely has an interesting hairstyle again. This
Does
stand
he have
up.
does he have multiple hairstyles like that throughout the movie, or is this
He may. I'm trying to remember. And of course, Keith Gordon has his eye on this beautiful girl. Is that Terry Farrell there?
I'm not sure. Let me look. I had a
Well, Steve's probably gonna get mad because the dogs are barking, but I don't know what's making them bark.
yeah, that is her name, Terry Farrell.
I thought that was her.
What do I know her from? Oh, she's in Hellraiser 3. That's right. Yeah.
Ah, okay. I believe she's taller than Keith Gordon here, though. That's what it looks like. I don't think Keith Gordon's a real tall guy, to be honest. Oh God, there's William Zabka doing this thing.
And so, like, I'm assuming, like, Keith Gordon in this is supposed to be, like, kind of a nerdy type character.
Mm-hmm.
And so is Robert Downey Jr. He just is, like, his friend.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of a flip flop from Weird Science.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, Weird Science has Anthony Michael Hall in it, right? So that one,
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Michael Hall is probably the nerdy
And
half.
don't you think it's funny that Anthony Michael Hall went from playing all these like nerdy characters in like Breakfast Club and 16 Candles and Weird Science to like when he did Edward Scissorhands, where he's like just this big jock, like
Yeah.
jerk.
So this is when Bruce Springsteen was really, really hot because Burt Young is like holding up a sign in front of the limo that says Bruce Springsteen. And of course, now they can register for any classes they want because everybody's ran out there because they think they're going to see Bruce Springsteen.
That's an awesome strategy.
Yeah.
I should do that, like go to Horror Hound and be like, "Hey, John Carpenter's out here signing free autographs," and then just like then run to Robert Englund's line.
Yeah. Everybody be running out. We could all get in Robert England's line and be like, hey, we're here. They'd be like, where'd everybody else go? I don't know. This sort of reminds me a little bit of summer school as well with Mark Harmon when he's totally in love with Kirstie Alley's character, and Kirstie Alley is involved with a guy that doesn't like Mark Harmon and wants to get him fired and stuff. And so um, it's kind of like that dynamic, that real snooty guy is with the woman that Rodney Dangerfield is going to fall in love with.
Right. That's the name of their, I guess their school like mascots, or is an owl called the
Yeah.
Hooters, which is very innuendo-ish.
And so his dad has made this place just huge. Like they all went into one door. They all had three different doors that they went into, but it went into one dorm room. But it's just huge, and he's fixed it up.
Doesn't this guy kind of remind you of Bill Nye, the science guy?
Kind of, yeah.
That dude sitting in the main back there was like Paul McCartney.
He does look like Paul McCartney. I never noticed that before. A lot of empty seats in that class, probably because this guy's an asshole. But he's like, I think he's like the business professor or something.
That's how a lot of those, like when you see a lot of films that involve like college things with college classes and stuff like that, you'll notice like a lot of seats will be empty and stuff. I guess cause like it was always the stereotypical thing that like kids go to college or they just to party and skip out on their classes and stuff.
Yeah,
Kind of like Animal House or something.
yeah. Yeah, the scene in Animal House that I'm thinking about is when Donald Sutherland is teaching the class
Mm-hmm.
and everybody just gets up and leaves, and he says, "I'm not joking," you know. Can you imagine though? Sam Kinnison's one of his scenes is going to be coming up soon. But can you imagine having Sam Kinison as a professor in college?
Sam Kinnison's a professor in this.
Yes, I'm serious. But he does his whole Sam Kinison routine, and if you've seen Sam Kinison, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that because I can't. That's hard to picture.
So now this professor is really mad because everybody's listening to Rodney Dangerfield talk about business, and they're more interested in him than the professor.
So exactly, why did he like? What made him not like Rodney Dangerfield? Like just straight off the bat.
I think just because he's a jerk and he just, doesn't like people that other people like. And Rodney Dangerfield in this is somebody that everybody thinks is fun and they like him. And
He said, "Flunk me, flunk him."
so, yeah, and this is only
Oh,
PG-13, so this is not rated R fare either. And there's Sam Kinison.
yeah, it's I'm at that point too. Like he, I mean, he looks so different to me without his like signature hat that he
Yeah,
wears and stuff, and
exactly.
his trench coat.
And he's calm right here, but just wait.
Okay, so that will change.
Yeah, it will change.
So his name is Professor Turgeson.
And he's teaching American history.
Yeah. And when I see that name Turgeson, it makes me think of the skit from Saturday Night Live with Jeopardy, where Will Ferrell plays Alex Trebek, and then you have Norm Macdonald playing Burt Reynolds, and instead of putting his name down as Burt Reynolds, he puts it as Turd Ferguson.
He's starting to get a little more
Yeah,
animated,
yeah,
and
that's
his
very
face is getting red.
that's the Sam Kinison we know.
He's gonna make her cry. There he goes. Okay, so now he's gonna turn his attention to Rodney Dangerfield here because he had the gall to speak up during his rant there.
Just tore
Yeah,
like
I forgot he
just
ripped
tore
the
his
shitter
desk
out.
like the top of it off.
So see, he likes this because Rodney Dangerfield's character gets as upset as he is, and that's what he likes. He doesn't want somebody to start crying. He wants them to get tough.
Mm. Good teacher, he really seems to care.
He's giving everybody ink pens. Then he takes it back from that one guy. Now this class is pretty cool or full, and it's because of this teacher, and this is the woman that Rodney Dangerfield's going to fall in love with. I
Okay.
think she's the English professor.
Who's this lady played by?
Oh,
Sally Kellerman.
yeah, that's Sally Kellerman. Yeah,
Do I know her from anything?
I think she's been in quite a few things.
Oh, she was in MASH. Um, and what else? Meatballs 3. Um, yeah, that's about it as far from stuff I know. I mean, so a lot of the stuff it shows she was in, I don't recognize.
I didn't realize she died in 2022, but she did.
Hmm.
She was on The Young and the Restless.
Wasn't Barbara Crampton also on Young and the Restless? Or was
How
it Days of Our Lives?
She was on one of those, and I'm trying to remember. I can't remember
Gosh,
right
yeah, I gotta look that up.
now.
Yeah, yeah. Barbara Crampton was on Young and the Restless as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of the things that Sally Kellerman was in either,
Mm.
evidently.
I knew I
But,
didn't really recognize her from anything
but
much.
the name is awfully familiar. Oh my God, that hat.
Like
The
Sherlock
hat that
Holmes.
the guy is it's awful.
I'm just gonna start dressing like that, wearing suits and plaid hats.
And this will be like, Chris, what happened to you?
Like, well, I watched Back to School with Dana, and it just changed my life.
She'd probably rather you dress like Rodney Dangerfield or maybe like Robert Downey Jr. in this. She could have those off the wall outfits he's got.
Mm-hmm.
I like the hat Sally Kellerman's got on. I like that outfit. Radhammer, you was playing Tekken 8. Oh gosh, he's in his
Red
red.
Hammer, who's your favorite Tekken character? I'd say mine's probably King because he's like a professional wrestling character. He's
I
got like
don't
a
think
big
I've ever played Tekken, but
yeah.
I suck so bad at video games.
The character King is like a professional wrestler character. I'm back at a break now, but
Yeah, I just
he
went to a commercial.
he's just got like a human body, but his head is like a cheetah head. But I've always like just assumed it was just like a mask he was wearing, but I don't know.
Mm.
Knowing those games, it could be like just a person's body with a cheetah.
And mine went right back into the
Mine did
movie.
too. There, and it shows Keith Gordon is climbing up this
He's
ladder
climbing the
now.
ladder, yeah.
Alyssa Boskanovich. I don't know if I know. I've never played some of the new. I last Tekken game I played Rat Hammer was probably Tekken 3 or 4. So if that character was in either of those games, I don't remember them.
Hey, the poet, I hadn't seen you in here for a while, and thanks for wishing all the moms a happy Mother's Day. And we're gonna see that Rodney Dangerfield's character is evidently a champion swimmer, and he does a dive called the Triple Lindy, or
Yeah,
has
there's
done it.
Emmett Walsh.
Yeah,
Now, am I remembering wrong, or is Emmett Walsh in one of the Critters movies?
I want to say yeah.
All right, now I got to look that up. He's in a Jerk. I know that because he's the guy that's like trying to kill Naven, Steve Martin's character at first, because he just like looks up a random name in the phone book and he goes out to that gas station trying to shoot Steve Martin. He's in Fletch, Raising Arizona,
Yeah,
Blade Runner. Yeah, he is. He's in the
he's
first.
in the first Critters at
Yeah,
least.
I thought so. I wasn't like positive on that, but
And God rest his soul, he died this past March.
oh,
Uh, and I just want to bring this up. I don't know how many people know this, but Roger Corman died Thursday. But I did not hear that he died
well,
until last night.
yeah, the news didn't break until last night. I'm glad you mentioned that, Dana, because I did want to bring that up if I was going to do the stream with you tonight. Is that when I read that news last night, it really,
It
really
bummed
broke
me
my
out.
heart. But he was 98 years old, and that man lived a full, like amazing life, and was to me, I mean, maybe not to other people, but to me, he's the most important filmmaker in history because he discovered
Oh
so
my
many big
gosh,
name
yes.
actors and he inspired so many like great other filmmakers after him, including John Carpenter and Joe Dante and
Mhm.
a lot of those filmmakers like that.
Martin
So
Scorsese, I mean, he helped a lot of these people get
and he
started.
and Roger Corman actually appeared at Fright Night Film Fest. I want to say back in like 2010 was,
Yeah.
and I was seeing all those pictures last night. I had some friends that was at that same show. Joe posted his photo with Roger Corman, and like the Dead Pit Boys posted theirs, and there's just several others. And I was at that show, Dana, but I never could figure out where Roger Corman was at, what room he
Well,
was in.
see, I knew where he was, but I don't know why I didn't go up and meet him. I think Steve met him.
Well, like, see, I remember wanting asking CK and Uncle Bill, I was like, "Where's Roger Corman at?" And they said, "Oh, he's just in like this room, like somewhere down there, like in there by himself."
Yeah,
And
it
I
was really
did
weird.
figure out where it was, and I was like, "What the heck?" So I ended up not getting to meet him, unfortunately.
And I could have, but didn't. And that's a big regret of mine
I
now.
wish I could have because really, like I said, he's to me the most important filmmaker in history. Like did hundreds of films, produced hundreds of films.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, really, really, just a legend.
So now Rodney Dangerfield went and got a couple of girls to hang out with him and Burt Young. I think that's so funny. Yeah, I think this might be Oingo Boingo here. Or maybe not this one, but I know they play either they play here or they play at their actual dorm room.
Well, I when I was looking at that cast a few minutes ago, I seen where it showed Danny Elfman.
Mhm.
Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. So they're in it. It's Oingo Boingo that's in it. So it's interesting to see, like there's like two parallel stories going on here. Of,
Yeah.
like Keith Gordon trying to spark up a relationship with this girl, and his dad, Rodney Dangerfield, is doing the same thing at the same time, and in his own way.
So here they're doing twist and shout, and that chick that's dancing. Movies were so much fun back in the 80s.
It was just all the drugs, Dana.
Was that it? I mean, there's still some movies that are fun now, but it seemed like the majority of, especially 80s comedies, were
Mhm.
just they may have not been much fun to make, but they were a heck of a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and there's a scene similar to this in. Have you ever seen Hot Tub Time Machine?
Yeah,
And yeah, there's a scene similar, but what they do in that movie in Hot Tub Time Machine is when like because they're all from the future, and
right.
but everybody sees them as what they look like back in the '80s, and they're up there like and the one guy I can't remember what his name in the movie, but it's the guy that played Daryl on The Office, and
Oh yeah.
he's like playing a piano, and he plays like it's like a Black Eyed Peas song or something.
Mhm.
So yeah, and then it's the whole like club is like dance and stuff, but like here's William Zabka up to no good.
Yeah. But when you see interviews with William Zabka, like he's as far removed from these bad characters as can be. He's soft
Mhm.
spoken and all
Oh
that.
yeah, and like most people will probably most remember him as Johnny from Karate Kid, but like, um, I feel like that was such an awesome idea for them to like go more into depth of that character with the Cobra Kai show, and he's really become one of my favorite TV characters of all time now. The role of Johnny Lawrence.
If I'm thinking right, too, William Zabka played a bully in just one of the guys. Um,
I've not seen that one, but I know
oh,
what it is,
that's
but I've never seen that one.
oh, so now there's a big fight going on here. And Keith Gordon's just crawling around on the floor. And poor Robert Downey Jr. is getting thrown all over the place.
Dang. Just pick that guy up effortlessly over his head, throws into the jukebox.
So, as usual, got to take a restroom break. So, I'm going to take myself out of the string for a second and let Chris keep y'all entertained for a couple of
Okay.
minutes.
The Poet, you said this is in your top 10 movies. Well, I guess I'll have to decide after I finish this because this is my first time watching this movie. Um, but so far, I'm really enjoying it. I really enjoy. This is. I mean, even though like Rodney Dangerfield's character in this is a lot older, and this is kind of. But if you look at the character like Keith Gordon and everything, it's also kind of doubles as a coming of age type film. And I always like stuff like that, like Porky's movies and Animal House, and um, all types of stuff like that. There's a movie that came out sometime in the 2000s I really like. I believe it's called Accepted, and I think Justin Long is in it, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I just like stuff like that, and American Pie movies, and all that kind of stuff is entertaining to what I like. It's kind of odd watching this movie, not getting to hear. I mean, and this is like I said, this is my first time watching this. And it's also odd watching it without sound because I can't have sound playing because of don't want Dana to get a copyright strike or anything. Um, but I'm definitely going to have to watch this back again so I can get the full shebang with the sound and everything. Because I'm sure that does play a lot into why people enjoy this movie so much. Because Rodney Dangerfield does have a unique voice. Now they're talking about Streetcar Named Desire, Marlon Brando. I was just talking to Dana about that the other night on here for some reason or another. But yeah, that's a movie that my wife Candace introduced me to. Really, really good. So I guess you can see now, like the way Rodney Dangerfield is looking at her, um, he's really taking a liking to her, and yeah. So he's asking her out on a date. I guess they're going to go get some dinner. But I guess they're not really looking at it. she's not looking at it as a date. They just want to go out as friends. But I'm guessing that will change eventually as the film progresses.
Okay, I'm back with the key lime pie dessert. I
Key
refound
lime
it.
pie.
Yeah,
So
these things are good.
yeah, I've been snacking on these the whole time. You ever had
Oh,
these?
no, I don't think I've had those. They
Yeah,
look good though.
yeah. It's watermelon licorice. The brand Wiley Wallabies. They're really good. I got some other ones in there too. I have like the hot cinnamon ones and the
Hmm.
green apple ones. They're very very good. I buy them at the Dollar Tree. If you're
I'm
in,
gonna have to look at our Dollar Tree and see if I can find those.
Candace got me these too. They're called 7 Days.
Uh huh.
PB and J's, and like they're like PB and J filled like they're inside croissants. Uh,
Hmm.
they're delicious.
Candace says those are the best licorice. Cinnamon and green apple are the best. Definitely gonna have to try to get me some.
Watermelon's my favorite, but I do like the cinnamon is a close second for me for sure. I'm partial. That's any kind of watermelon flavored like candy or anything like
Oh,
that.
I
That
love watermelon.
it's my favorite. Yeah.
Or that dude is with his fancy car.
This, yeah, I mean, he's got the whole gimmick going, like Great Gatsby gimmick, which is like it's funny because she was actually talking about Great Gatsby earlier
Mm.
in the film and during her class. Um, and maybe that's why he's doing that. Maybe that's why he's doing that to impress her or something.
Could be.
So he's trying to get into the full character of like dressing in that style of Great Gatsby and driving the old time cars and stuff. Um, but he realizes that that's not really what she's looking for. She's more interested at this point, I think, in Rodney Dangerfield.
Mm-hmm. Because Rodney Dangerfield in this movie is more of a free spirit. And I think that's what attracts her to him.
And this oddly reminds me of,
Those dogs there.
but that scene just is where he's starting to have relation. He kissed her and everything, and like, but he's still a student and she's a teacher. It
Hmm.
reminds me of this show that I watched last year, which it came out many years ago. And it lasted like 11 seasons with William H. Macy called Shameless.
Uh-huh.
And there's like somewhere like around like I guess it's like the third or fourth season or something. One of the kids in the show played, which is William H. Macy's son in the show, and they call him Lip. He's like in college, and like he starts having a relationship with one of his professors. So that's a good show. It's a really messed up show. There's some really like wild content in Shameless, but I recommend anybody watch that because it's so good. Someone in here named Brian King. I don't think I've ever seen that name
Oh,
before.
Brian, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Thanks for
somebody that
joining us, Brian.
he knows Blissful, but he's been coming into my streams
Cool.
on and off when he
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. Thanks for coming to Dana's stream, Brian, and watching Back to School with us.
And Brian always gives me and Blissful little digital roses.
And
Always
there's Kurt
like,
Vonnegut.
yeah.
That's so cool. I, was he in any other movies besides this?
Mm, I can't recall. Now there's another commercial.
Yeah, yeah, I just went in mine too.
Holy cow, I didn't know there was a show that would dump people in the water.
Mm.
The quiz was balls. That's what it's called.
Yeah, that was the ad I got too.
Now I'm back to the monkey.
Mm-hmm. That's where I'm at.
Hey, Batman. Whoops. Dropping stuff. I'm going to step away for a second and take this back in the kitchen before I drop this fork on me again.
What are you referring to, Batman, when you say who?
Yeah, I wasn't sure who he was talking about either.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask, is because I think he just came in. Maybe we were talking about something that kind of he didn't understand the reference. I don't know.
Some monkeys are so cute. I know some people are scared of monkeys. They say they'll rip your face off or something.
Well,
But
I'm sure they probably could, but I love um, monkeys and chimpanzees and gorillas and all kinds those primates.
Batman says who you was talking about being on a show.
Oh, I was just talking about the show Shameless. There was a scene
Oh,
that when Rodney Dangerfield and the teacher was like making out. It reminded me of a story that was going on in the show Shameless between the character Lip and his professor that was having a relationship.
and Brian says he hasn't been well lately. I'm sorry to hear that, Brian. He says so he hasn't been on YouTube as much, just dealing with real life crap and trying to get some forging done. Yeah, Brian does forging. By the way,
He's a blacksmith.
yeah,
Holy crap! That's
Brian, you could
impressive.
probably explain more about it.
That's something There's Edie McClurg.
Yeah, she's being like a transcriber.
But yeah, I've always been interested in like blacksmithing and forging and all that stuff. It's
Mm.
because I'm into the whole like medieval time stuff and anything revolving around like sword and sorcery and like I love seeing stuff like that in films. Yeah, yeah, he's blacksmith. That's so cool. So
Mhm.
you just make like swords and daggers or just different stuff. That's really cool. That's something I've always been interested in.
Yeah, we're past
Yeah.
that part with Sam Kinison, Batman. I think Sam Kinison will show up again towards the end.
Funny, I just watched Carrie the other day, and Ian McClurg's in that.
Yep.
Nah,
He
sword.
says, yeah.
Awesome. Very cool, man. Like, I just went to last year. I went to my first Renaissance fair, and I got to watch them kind of do some stuff like that in one of the little booths at the Renaissance fair. And dude, that takes some serious talent to do that stuff.
It's not a talent I have, unfortunately. I'll stick to doing my stuff with my horror shop, my Dead Odds on Deck shop, and
I gotta try to like discover some kind of hidden talent I have, Dane. I gotta put my creativity into motion somehow.
well, I know everybody has it. They may feel like they don't, but I'm convinced that everybody has their own particular
Yeah,
talent.
I do too. I just haven't figured out what mine is yet.
So his son has just gotten mad at him
Mhm.
because he basically tells his dad, "You can't have people do your work for you."
You wrote software for decades before trying my hand at the anvil. Wow. You're multi talented, Brian.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Brian's done a lot of things. I love Terry Farrell. She's got a girl next door quality, is what
Mhm.
she's got to her.
She's there's something about her that she looks like a mix between Catherine Mary Stewart and Leah Thompson.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which those are two more excellent examples of a girl next door.
Hmm. Blissful. I am like very excited. I just saw what you put in there. She says, Brian, I'm going to start my channel up. I may need to SOS you. You can SOS me too, Blissful. I can help out to some extent. Probably not as much as Brian can, but
What are you
just
going to be covering on your channel, Blissful? I'm interested as well.
I'm glad to see. It just thrills me that so many people here lately are wanting to do their own thing. You say, believe me, I will, Dana. Yeah, anytime. I mean, me and Candace got on a StreamYard private chat and I was showing her things too. So,
Brian, that's awful, man. Like he says he fell while sleepwalking and broke a rib. Oh
ooh,
my goodness. Between
bless
that
her.
and the life crap way behind where I want to be. Yeah, man, that's completely understandable. Like just take your time with everything you do and just, make sure you're healed. That's the most important thing.
So that's obviously not William Zabka going into the water.
Could have been Dana. You don't know.
I don't know. That hair didn't look like William Zabka when it was going into the water.
Jason.
I think he's got the wrong idea here about what his dad's doing. That he thinks his dad is, trying to cheat a little bit to get him to where he needs to be. That's obviously not Keith Gordon either.
It's kind of funny though. I just kind of realized that I knew nothing about this movie. I didn't know any of the characters' names or anything, and then just ironically, their last name was Melon. I'm eating watermelon licorice.
So everybody's bored at this party, and William Zabka, of course, comes in there and is like, "Where's everybody at?"
That's funny because Burt Young is in this, and in I believe it's Rocky 2 or Rocky 3, when Rocky is doing all the different commercials and stuff. And there's
Hmm.
one where he dresses up like a caveman and has like the leopard print
Right.
costume on. So that's funny.
Yeah, telling Terry Farrell. Like he's being a jerk again. This might be where Oingo
Yeah,
Boingo
this has to be.
is.
Yeah, yeah. I would think.
I think I see
Yeah,
Danny.
there he is.
Yeah, Danny Elfman. There he is.
Yeah, and they're playing Dead Man's Party. That's awesome. I listen to that song all the time.
And there's those chicks from the bar.
There's Robert Downey Jr. with another hairstyle.
And now Keith Gordon's got a real bad attitude now. He's pissed off.
It's like I'm just gonna go buy a possessed car and kill all these people. That's some interesting dance moves, Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, he does kind of look like he after he got possessed on Christine. How he
Mhm.
how he looked. Keith Gordon is just amazing. I don't think Keith Gordon gets enough credit because he can go from being like a sweet, innocent, unassuming guy to being like homicidal in 10 seconds.
And Keith Gordon there in that last scene where he was wearing the sunglasses, everything, he looked reminiscent to Paul Rudd's character in Wet Hot American Summer. Have you ever
Yeah.
watched those films? And there was like a couple TV series too, like on Netflix, Wet Hot
I
American
may have
Summer.
seen scenes from like the movie, but not like sat there and watched the whole thing.
I love them, and it's ridiculous. It's just like they basically just make fun of like all these 80s movies that were like set at like summer camps and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and it's just complete satire of all that stuff, and I love it. It's got a great cast, a lot of people from like Saturday Night Live and stuff like that. Kids in the Hall. I think there's a few Kids in the Hall cast members within the show. But yeah, if you've never seen any Wet Hot American Summer stuff, I highly recommend checking that stuff out. It's so funny.
And the cops were bringing in more beer for this party. I thought that was funny too.
Yeah, 80s movies were out of control. I tell you.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because like there's through all decades, even now, there's so many huge like names in Hollywood, and it just seems like in the 80s there was there were so many movies in the 80s where you had like a huge cast of like all top names almost. If they weren't like A-list, they were at least like coming up on that, where they would eventually be A-list names. Like at this time, Robert Downey Jr., I don't think he was considered an A-list name,
Mm-mm.
but he would be eventually.
Oh yeah. So this is going to get him in trouble here. It's going to get Rodney Dangerfield in trouble because
Mhm.
the woman he's interested in is going to come in and find him in the hot tub with all these ladies.
One thing that's interesting to me, though, I was thinking about this. It's like so many like these like horror movies, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of like huge, especially in the 80s, a lot of names that were in several different films. Like Bruce Campbell was in Evil Dead films, amongst other you know films in the 80s that were horror related. And then you look at like people like Linnea Quigley that did the same thing. But it's always interesting to me is like as many films as all those actors did, there was like you would think that at some point they would kind of their careers would intertwine into a film, but
Right.
that's interesting to me that there was so many. Like I don't think Bruce Campbell and Linnea Quigley ever did a film together that I recall. Um,
Can't recall him doing
Now I
it.
know her and Robert Englund did because she has a that one part at the end of that Run on Street Part 4.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's just just a random thought I had. Is another topic for another time, I'm sure.
That's okay. I like random thoughts. I always say that I don't want my streams to be like rigid and stuff like that. So if we have random thoughts, I
Mm,
say throw them out there.
that's that's the story of my life, Dana. Random thoughts all day long, every day.
Oh, and he just punched the hell out of William Zabka there.
I guess he hadn't. He forgot how to do karate.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts now, Chris? Thinking that this is going to be a movie you want to watch again?
Oh yeah, I was like actually talking about that while you went to the bathroom earlier
Mm-hmm.
about because I think I was talking to Rat Hammer at the time, or no, it was the poet. That's who it was, and they said that this was one of their top 10 films of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just mentioned that I am liking this so far. It's a little odd that this is my first time watching it. I don't have any sound to it.
Uh-huh.
So, but from what I'm figuring out so far, just because I have subtitles on and everything,
Right.
I'm really enjoying this movie, and I think I'm gonna watch it again at some point. Um,
Another commercial. Have you
yeah, I
got a
just got one
commercial,
too.
Chris?
Yeah, I just got one too. The quiz with balls.
Yeah, that's this is the
What
weirdest
a
thing
name! I
ever.
mean, like,
And they get knocked into the water. That's what's.
well, did you ever watch that? There's a show. It's a game show called Wipeout, I think.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, I can remember the last time, like our friend James, you know him as Wolfman from the Dead Pit board. Um, the last time I ever got to go visit him before he passed away, when I went to their house, he was watching Wipeout at the time.
So now we got a commercial about how people can take payments.
Let me pause it then, because I'm already back into the movie.
Yeah, I did that a couple of times where it went straight back into the movie after one thing. But okay, now I'm back to they're getting their grades on their
All right.
papers.
And saying she's mad at him because she thinks he's just playing her.
Hmm.
Oh, there's an F bomb. There's another, and this is rated PG-13.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I know sometimes PG-13 they drop at least one in there,
Yeah,
but
usually at least one time, and usually I think breasts were shown more than once though
oh,
near
that's
the
right,
beginning.
they did show it like when he ran into that girl earlier in the show. So I don't know. This seems like this should be rated R, Data.
Yeah, it's but it says PG-13, but
Well, I guess the what do they call that? The FCC or whatever, or MPAA.
mm,
I guess the MPAA was a little bit more lenient back then than they are now. I swear, this is like straight like Billy Madison, like the stuff that's going on. Because and that's it. I got to look into that later to see if this was it had to be an inspiration because it's almost like Ned Beatty here is even though he's like the dean or whatever of the
mm.
school, it's almost like he's playing like the role from like Billy Madison's dad is like that same type of role, and then like the guy here, the one of the professor, he is there's like kind of like Eric from Billy Madison, and of course Rodney Dangerfield's like in the Billy Madison role, but yeah, that's so cool. Like that because Billy Madison's one of my favorite comedies,
Mm.
and like I said, I've seen it countless times, and this is my first time seeing it, so it's always interesting when I discover new films. I kind of see patterns that have from films that came out after the fact, and you're like, oh, that was an inspiration. It has to be because they're very similar.
I think so too, just the way you're describing the stuff. So Burt Young is telling him now, he's like, you need to give your dad a break. You're hurting his feelings.
Now hold up, Blissful saying she's getting strawberry shortcake ready.
Yeah, I see that.
Send some to Hazard, Kentucky, Blissful. So I would love to have some strawberry shortcake right now.
Strawberry shortcake sounds really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
So he's telling Jason he's going to leave, and because he's afraid he's messed up things.
Yeah, there's a little bit of product placement there with that
Yeah, Coca Cola.
Classic. Do you remember those when they
Mm-hmm.
cans that said Coca-Cola Classic?
Yep.
I love whenever there's stuff like that in movies, like the product placement stuff, because it just kind of catches your eye real
Yeah.
quick. It's something that you probably normally see in everyday life, and I think my favorite like product placement like scene within a film is probably in Wayne's World. When
Oh,
like they're like doing all the different stuff, like um, I think they're eating like Wayne's eating Doritos, and then there's like they like show a Pizza Hut pizza box, and I think he shows like Tylenol or Advil or something because he's like, I'm getting a headache.
so now Jason's going to help his dad. Well, and
Yeah,
Robert Downey Jr.'s helping too.
and Jason looks like he's dressed like Georgie from It there.
He does look like Georgie for me.
I think that's a movie because Candace was talking about it the other day on y'all's Friday Foolish show, and I think me and her's going to watch It, like the miniseries It, here
Uh
again,
huh.
here again very soon. Because we watched that documentary, Pennywise, the story of It, and I think it really got her like interested in watching it again. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of cool stories of how like they chose. Because
Yep.
the thing is, like Tim Curry didn't even audition for that or anything. They just
Right.
like contacted him and asked him if he wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's. I mean, that is a really good documentary on it, and if it, to me, it's just as good as Unearthed and Untold, the Path to Pet Cemetery. That's
I
another.
heard there was some controversy behind the people that made the Pennywise documentary. I guess it had maybe something to do with Kickstarter or something. They like
Mm,
promised all of these different like rewards for the people that was helping support it and getting past the goals. And I guess they didn't deliver on all that stuff. And there was like one of the goals was like if you donated so much money to past a certain point that would qualify you in receiving a autograph from Tim Curry. And
oh,
apparently, what happened was they sent those out, but they were all fakes, and they were
that's
forged by the people that were
awful.
making the documentary.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, yeah, it was messed up.
Oh, Brian, you get some rest and come back anytime when you feel like it. But you make sure you get plenty of rest. I
Yeah,
thank you for coming in tonight.
yeah. Thanks, man. Good meeting you for sure. A super Batman there. Yeah, yeah, same here, man. I remember when I first watched Clash of the Titans, and I was like, "Whoa, there's a pair of titties out here, and it's PG." Yeah, it takes you by surprise.
Steve has told me stories about catching stuff real late at night and stuff, and I have a story about Deadly Friend. I saw Deadly Friend on regular television, like super late at night when I was a kid, and I saw in its entirety the Anne Ramsey head explosion scene with the basketball and her jerking around and her body jerking around stuff. I was like, "Whoa,
That's
that's
my
cool."
favorite death scene in any horror movie ever. I came this close to buying it yesterday at FrankenCon on VHS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love that movie. But yeah, that is shocking when you see that for the first time, like what you're talking about.
But to see it uncut on regular television, I know it was late at night, but I was like, "Holy crap! Look at this."
Yeah, she is a lot taller than Keith Gordon, you know, like you said.
Yeah, I'm not sure how tall Keith Gordon is, but
Unless she's, you know, I know sometimes that when they do they make like it's like an illusion. Like sometimes they're not really taller. They just make it look like that's a part of the story, like she's supposed to be taller. But she could very well be in real life as well. But I just know that they kind of did that with that last Orphan movie. Because they
yeah,
had, of course, because the girl when they did the sequel to Orphan, like she was the girl that played her was much older at that point. But so what they did was have the rest of like the actors wear these platform shoes to make themselves appear taller than her.
So meanwhile, Rodney Dangerfield is he's taking tests, in front of all his professors to see if he
Mm-hmm.
can pass. And there's Sam Kinison again, by the way.
And that's almost
There he goes. He does scream at him.
and that where he's taking the test in front of these professors and stuff. That's almost like another reference for a Adam Sandler film, as in The Water Boy, when he's caught, you know, because he was just selected to go to school and he didn't have any kind of high school education thing, so he had to take that test like later in the film in front of a bunch of the like professors. So it's obvious to see that now. Like, you know, that Adam Sandler, one of his big inspirations was Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah.
Because it looks like there's several parts from this film that were taken to put in a couple of different of Adam Sandler's films. And as
Right.
I said earlier, you know, Rodney Dangerfield does play Little Nicky's grandpa in Little Nicky.
Yep. So evidently, Adam Sandler watched this movie very
Maybe,
closely.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, at least unless it's just coincidence.
She's like, "You've had your turn, sit down."
So, and this is reciting this from what they were talking about earlier in the film when she recited it, and because
Right.
he said it was beautiful, and I think that was at the point when he started falling for her.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like that, has this memorized, and he's reciting it to her. She's kind of like, okay, maybe he wasn't playing me, and she's starting
Yeah.
to fall for him.
That baby's gonna cry. Oh goodness, Blissful, you better keep an eye on your mom. She's on a caffeine high.
I don't think she's blinked today from her caffeine high. So she just looked like this all day.
Oh gosh. Sometimes I feel like that when I've had too much Mountain Dew and too many energy drinks. And
Well, that's like how I was yesterday when my friend Brad picked me up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and like I didn't want. I could have probably went to sleep and took a nap on the way there, but I just decided to stay awake all day and like just talk with him and stuff. So
I
yeah,
saw. Did you have a coffee drink? I saw something in one of your
yeah.
pictures.
So after we left FrankenCon yesterday, we went to Starbucks, and I've only been to Starbucks maybe a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess that's a place that my friend Brad likes to go to quite often because he knew exactly what to order before we even pulled up.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, what do you want? And I was like, let me look at this menu because I'm not familiar with a lot of their stuff. But yeah, it was some kind of like caramel crunch frappuccino
Mm-hmm.
thing. I don't know. It was
I
good.
love their frappuccinos.
Yeah, it was really good. I don't. That's not something I drink on the regular, but I mean, I did like it. I guess that Keith Gordon's just a naturally short guy. I
Yeah.
said I've never seen him in person or anything, so I don't know.
He looks basically the same now because I've seen him in interviews, only he doesn't have that much hair now.
Hmm. And that does pose an interesting question. So let me ask you, Dana. Do you look at Christine as a slasher?
I mean, yeah, you could look at it that way. I think there have been times when I've looked at it that way. It's just a slasher with a car being used as the weapon.
So I guess you could maybe call it like a supernatural slasher.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. Because maybe it's just in my head. Because in my head, I'm thinking, well, if it's if Christine is looked at as a slasher and Horror Hound's having a slasher fest at the next show, maybe they could bring in Keith
There
Gordon.
you go.
Yeah,
Somebody please bring Keith Gordon in so we can meet this guy.
yeah, I gotta see if he's actually really short in person or not. It's like I don't need your autograph. I just need to know if he was actually a short guy.
I was looking at speaking of short, I was looking at the picture of you with Linnea Quigley, and I told Steve, I said, man, I said, I guess it's because Chris is so tall. I said, with Linnea Quigley standing beside him, and she looks really, really short.
That's what she said. Like when we were going to take the picture, she goes, "Oh my, you're exceptionally large." and so the guy that was like trying to take the picture of me and Linnea, he had to like crouch down and like bend back like
Yeah,
this,
to
and
get
he to
y'all
try to
both
take.
in there.
I said sorry about being so tall, and she goes, "No, that's great. Like I'm sure you have a lot of advantages in life with that." But yeah, she's so cool.
So now Rodney Dangerfield, they're wanting him to do the triple Lindy to help the swim team out.
I just want to see Ned Beatty jump off that diving board.
Blissful said that was like when she met John Bon Jovi for the first time, and they were close to the same height.
So, do you know who's about to be John Bon Jovi's daughter-in-law?
No, who is it?
Millie Bobby Brown, 11 from Stranger
Oh,
Things.
that's right. Because I remember Steve
Hmm.
telling me something about who she was dating. Isn't
Yeah,
that wild?
because apparently when she did last year, she did an appearance at Spooky Empire in Orlando, and apparently John Bon Jovi made appearance like he did wasn't there as a guest, but he came to the show
Hmm.
because she was there. So that's pretty cool. Which I'm a big fan of Bon Jovi's early stuff, like
Hmm.
Slippery When Wet album and all that. But it seems like they have like changed drastically in their genre of music. Like they're Bon Jovi's pretty much like country music now.
Really? I haven't heard a lot of the newer stuff.
Yeah, like they don't like from all like their rock stuff anywhere from the 80s into the 2000 early 2000s. Um yeah, it's nothing like that anymore.
So we're seeing why this is called the triple Lindy. Because he's actually jumping on the diving board 3 different times.
And that's really Rodney Dangerfield doing that. I wish.
That would be even cooler if it was.
it seems like they there's a band called Sum 41. And I was a big fan of them when I was in high school and everything. And they had this music video called In Too Deep,
Mhm.
and it focuses around like them doing like a competitive like diving into a swimming pool like that. And it seems like one of the guys in the video does the same thing that Rodney Dangerfield just did with the double diving board jump
Mhm.
and everything. Um, so maybe that was a tribute to this movie in that in that video.
So now it's graduation time. We're going to see that Rodney Dangerfield's going to get his degree.
Mm-hmm. Which, as you and you probably get tired of me saying this, but this feels like another inspired reference for Billy Madison.
Mhm.
Because at the end of Billy Madison, you know, he graduates and everything and gives this big speech, much like what's happening here. So, wow.
No, I like that you're mentioning this because it gives us a bit of information that I wouldn't have known that because I don't know that I've seen some Adam Sandler movies, but I don't think I've actually sat down and watched Billy Madison like from beginning to end.
Yeah, it's my favorite Adam Sandler movie, Billy Madison, and just because it has a lot of really ridiculous, dumb humor in it, and yeah, and but this was such a great movie. Um, I'm gonna watch this again sometime soon, to where I can get like the full effect of it with the sound and everything. Because
Yeah.
it just feels odd to me because like I was saying earlier, like Rodney Dangerfield has a very distinct and unique voice. And
Mhm.
then also you throw in Sam Kinison and it's odd to watch a movie. You see Sam Kinison yelling, but you don't hear anything coming out.
Right, exactly.
And but we have to do it that way because we don't want to get taken off YouTube. Dana.
No, unfortunately, they don't see it the way we do, guys and gals, that we're just trying to allow everybody to be able to watch a movie at the same time and stuff like that. They unfortunately see it as a copyright infringement. And so we have to abide by the rules or else your channel could get taken down. Um,
I just seen that Michael Felsher went live on Facebook about 30 minutes ago. He's still on right now, but I wonder if he's on there announcing anything finally about Trick or Treat or anything that
Man,
we.
I hope so, or he's going to catch hell from everybody again.
I'm hoping he's talking about something. I'll go back and watch that later with him because, um, yeah, I'd like to know if that Trick or Treat 4K is going to ever come out.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering if it's ever going to come out. I know Dead Pit's giving hell
Yeah.
over it.
Now, was Trick or Treat ever released by Scream Factory on just regular Blu-ray?
I don't think that it's ever been on anything other than a really low budget DVD.
I don't think so either because I have not I don't remember seeing it anywhere like at all. Let me see if I can just I'm on Amazon right now just to see if there's anything. I mean they released it on that DVD. I have the DVD, which
Me
is the
too.
one that has like the skull in the background and the school below it, and then there's a picture of
Mhm.
Ozzy and Gene Simmons. It was just some random photos that they chose then to put on that DVD cover.
Yeah, and
It,
does yours have like it looks like a behind the scenes like Kevin Yeager photo where he's doing makeup stuff? Do you see
Not on
that?
the cover. Cause mine just has just that has that like that skull like it's like on fire or whatever it is in the
Mhm.
background with the skull. It says trick or treat above it, and down at the bottom of there's like a random image of Ozzy with long hair, which he doesn't look anything like that in the movie.
Mhm.
And then there's the picture of Gene Simmons.
But I was thinking on the back of that DVD, there were some more pictures.
Oh, the back,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I'd have to go look at it. But I do see here there's a Trick or Treat Blu-ray, but it looks like bootleg as hell.
Yeah,
And
it does.
um, yeah. So I don't think an official release has ever been on Blu-ray. But I hope we can get something because that is such a very underrated movie.
Yes, it is. Definitely is. And I want, by golly, I want Rocktober Blood to come out from TerrorVision. I know TerrorVision gets a lot of flack, but I did talk to the guy that runs TerrorVision. Um,
The Horror Hound, I think I
yeah, it
talked
was
to
at
him
Horror
too.
Hound, and I asked him. I just went up and I asked him about it, and he was very nice to me and stuff.
Yeah, I talked to him for a while, and I was just telling him how much I appreciated, um, a lot of their releases because I've only bought a couple things from them so far. I have the Monster Squad bundle that came out, and that
Hmm.
Linnea Quigley's horror workout bundle they did, um, and they got some really interesting releases that they put out, and especially they're one of the ones that do cassette tapes. Like they
Yep.
do reproductions of cassette tapes for a lot of those because they did like Monster Squad, and they did a couple of the Friday the 13th movies and
Yep.
Basket Case and just a lot of different things. And I really do like those guys. I mean, they're still kind of new, I guess. They've been around for a couple of years, I believe, but I think that they'll finally, at some point hit their mark of what, because I know that they were struggling a while back because the guy from TerrorVision made a post on
Hmm.
Facebook and different parts of social media where they were kind of struggling, I guess, selling some of those copies of the
Right.
Monster Squad. But I wasn't one of those people because I bought that as soon as they announced that Monster Squad bundle. I bought it immediately
Yeah,
because
I wish I had gotten it, but I kept putting it off and then didn't end up getting it. But in case anybody's wondering about that Rocktober Blood release, when
Mhm.
I talked to him at Horror Hound, he was basically like they had had a lot of trouble getting access to certain elements.
Mhm.
And he said it probably wouldn't be before October before it gets released.
There was a guy yesterday at FrankenCon, one of the vendors, that had a clamshell VHS of Rocktober Blood,
Oh, wow.
and I was afraid to ask him how much it was
I
because
probably would have been afraid
I
too.
was like, that's probably at least like 60 or $70.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know. Maybe I should have asked him. Maybe he'd be like, "Oh, it's $1." But no, that's not realistic because this is a convention. You're not hardly getting anything for $1 at a convention. But yeah, I probably should have asked because that it was really nice condition too. Uh,
Mhm.
there was a guy there yesterday though. Like it was the one that I bought. I don't think I have it in here anymore, but it was the Vincent Price tape that I showed you last night.
Yeah.
Well, he had a reanimator tape, and I came, I tried to like bargain with him to try to get him down a little bit, but he wouldn't budge. He was wanting 60 on it. But the thing about the tape was I was like, oh, that seems a bit high because when I took the tape out, you know how in the center they always have the label, the name of the movie, and it has the running time and everything, and the
Mhm.
little FBI warning and all that. Well, there was no label on it. It was just
Oh,
it was just and like the glue from it or from the sticker part had like it fell off.
right.
But and he says, but there is like a label on the edge that's from where this was a movie rental, and it has the title right there on that label. But
Uh-huh.
the problem with that is, though, Dana, is that it still makes me a bit skeptical. Not
Mhm.
to be like Dana Scully or anything, being skeptical, but I have seen instances where I have gotten tapes that didn't have the label in the center, but they had like a sticker on it of the rental and it has the
Mm.
name and stuff. But when I put it in, it's a completely different movie from what that sticker
Oh,
label is.
yeah,
So like I'm like, I was like, I would, in order, to kind of change my mind, is I would have to see you play this tape so to convince
exactly.
me. But still, even then, if that was the case, I that $60 seemed a bit excessive for Reanimator on VHS.
Yeah, I would have to agree, and plus the fact, the label thing and stuff like that. I think you made the best choice
Yeah,
in that
he
case.
he also did have a really nice big box VHS of Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Ooh,
But he, like, when I was there at his booth, he ended up trading that to another guy who had brought a Wizard Video Texas Chainsaw Massacre video disc. And I'm pretty sure like there's only they from like Wizard Video, at least on video disc, they only had like 5 different releases, and it was like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Blood Feast, and a couple others. But there's, like I said, there was just like 5 Wizard Video releases for video disc,
mhm.
and that was really cool. Like I seen some really cool pieces yesterday. Just unfortunately, I just didn't have the. I wasn't up to par financially to get everything I wanted to get.
I understand about that. It happens every time I go to a convention. It doesn't matter if it's Horror Hound or Scare Fest or maybe one of the smaller ones. It's just there's so much that you would like to get, but when you have to think in terms of, I only got a certain amount of money, and once that's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
Uh, and we have to set budgets for ourselves because if we don't, we could go into major debt,
But
with these conventions.
I'm kind of proud of myself, Dana, because like yesterday, I got to meet Linnea, Brink,
You
and
did real
Michelle,
good yesterday.
and I got a few different things that I bring from some merch and stuff from the show, and I don't think I even spent like $100.
See, and you can drop $100 at the drop of a hat at a horror hound, or so. I'm
Oh,
not
oh
saying
yeah.
anything bad about horror hound. I'm just saying
Well,
it.
it's just that they're a more they've been around quite a bit longer.
Mhm,
Horror Hound's been, I think, let's see, about 17 years, I think, because I think they started in 2007.
mhm.
And so, yeah, they've been around quite a while. And this was FrankenCon's 3rd year. So they have plenty of time to grow. And, even Horror Hound in its beginning, in its first couple of years, they were a lot smaller than what they are now.
Yep.
But, like I said, there's always room for improvement with that kind of stuff, to where Frank and Con can becoming bigger, and they might have to change venues. Even though
Mhm.
I really like the venue. They're at the Knoxville Airport, like a Hilton, so it's like this big conference room, like within the Hilton at the Knoxville Airport, and it's just I love it. It's because it's small, but it's like also at the same time there's a lot going on. Um,
Right.
and but yeah, but like I said, but unfortunately, that's just what has to happen. If your show grows, then you're going to have to get a bigger venue and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like you said though, at like Horror Hound, where they are a more developed show and they have a lot more bigger guests, like it's easy to drop $100.
Well, you
Every
could drop over $100 for a photo op. One
Yeah,
photo
exactly,
op.
exactly. And like Sam Raimi, what was well, all 3 Raimi brothers, it was like 140 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was like $143, but then you got to add on all these surcharges and
Hmm.
taxes and all that stuff. And by the time I got done with that, I think it was 160 something.
Yeah, I think you're right. But fortunately, I use that option a lot, to where I do like the paying for thing through
I
either,
do too.
which which I couldn't do it through PayPal. That's one, the paying for that I prefer is through PayPal.
Hmm.
Um, but unfortunately, when you get a photo op through celebrity photo ops on their website, they don't accept PayPal.
Right.
So what I had to do, there's another option you can do if you wanted to. It's called Zip, and that's
Zip.
what
I use Zip.
that's what I use to get my photo op for the Ramey brothers. So it just kind of broke that total up into, you know, 4 different payments.
I either use Zip or Klarna. I can't remember which one I.
There's different ones. There's Zip, there's Klarna, there's Affirm. But with Affirm, though, the problem with Affirm is that they are one of the ones that you have to do they do a credit check on you and stuff.
Yeah,
And if your credit check is not up to par for their
but they won't.
policies,
They
then
won't allow you to.
they
No.
won't approve you. But just know, like, people watching this, if you're kind of reluctant to go to conventions, that's understandable. I mean, this stuff does get expensive, but you know, and I've paid some prices before on stuff like that with autographs and photo ops and stuff. It's pretty high, but in the long run, it gives me enjoyment. It
Mhm.
gives me good memories, and it's something. It's almost like a thing where I get closure with a lot of stuff. Like, cause I've like when I met Sam Raimi, yeah, he was super expensive, but he's somebody I wanted to meet my entire life since
Yeah.
I learned what the Evil Dead films were, and it was worth every bit of money that I paid.
Steve would probably his head would explode, but the money that I spent on Sam Raimi's autograph and meeting him and the photo op with the Raimi brothers that I did
Mhm.
at the past horror hound, it was worth every penny to
Yeah,
me to have
absolutely.
that experience.
Yeah.
And like I said, Steve's head would explode, but it's just how I feel.
Yeah, and I went all out too with that, Dana, because I don't think I've ever done that for a single guest before, other than Sam Raimi, because I got that photo op, same one you did, the Raimi brothers.
Mm.
And then on top of that, I got 2 autographs from Sam at that same show. So I dropped close to $400 altogether for Sam Raimi. But I was like, well, but I look at it like that. But then again, like, well, Ivan Raimi and Ted Raimi were also in that photo. So,
Yeah, sure. Now, here's the thing, and I don't, you know, mean to sound like I'm really bad mouthing the Lexington Comic Con, but I'm telling you guys and gals, I only went there for one reason, and that was to meet Sam Raimi. And I think that was the only reason that Uncle Bill went there too, and probably the only reason a lot of other people went. But that was one of the worst experiences, not guest wise, but management wise, like whoever they had walking around, volunteers or security people or whatever, they were rude. And that just completely turned me off of Lexington Comic Con. And I don't ever want to go back there.
yeah, I I went to that Lexington Comic Con a few times in the past, and when the few times that I went, I was like, man, this show is huge. They got, they got tons and tons of vendors and like great
Mhm,
guests and everything. But just because a show has a lot of great guests and a lot of great vendors, and that doesn't mean that the show is going to be greatly ran by its staff and everything, and every show has problems for sure.
mhm,
But I think with Lexington Comic Con, I've seen a lot of issues with that show, and that show's been around for years, for
mhm,
many years now. So they've had plenty of time to rectify those issues that they got. But it seems like what you're saying, like some of the staff being rude and just
mhm,
disorganized. I mean, I see that I don't go to the show anymore because I
mhm,
got really turned off by some stuff by the show. I won't go into, but it kind
right,
of like it's some really petty stuff that they were doing regarding um, regarding Horror Hound. I'll just say that.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, it's just like, I can't support stuff like that.
Well,
If you,
one thing I will say about Horror Hound is Nathan has some of the nicest staff
they do.
at a horror convention that I've ever seen. Like, for instance, I'll give an example. When I went up to meet William Cat, I did not know that they had a line over, away from his table. I just thought people were in a line. I saw some people standing there, and I just got behind them. And this lady that was one of the staff very nicely came up to us, and she said, "Are you wanting to meet William Cat?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, here, let me show you where that line starts." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool," But she was very nice
Yeah.
about it. Now, on the other hand, Lexington Comic Con, there was this particular guy there, and he hassled Uncle Bill too. So Uncle Bill knows how this guy was. But me and Steve went through the whole, process the way that we were supposed to. We got well, I got my ticket. Steve didn't actually go up and meet him. Um, but I got my ticket to get in line, and they told us, come back at this time and get lined up.
Mhm.
And we waited on the damn loading docks and did all that stuff like we were supposed to, like we were instructed to. And so we came back at, I can't remember if it was 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. I think maybe 11. So we got up there, and I was like third or fourth in line
Mhm.
meet Sam Raimi. And I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And then here comes this dude. And he said, "Where's y'all's tickets at?" Dude, come on, can't you be nice? And we all like it kind of scared all of us that were already in the line. We got out our tickets and showed them to him. All right, then. And then he just walked off. It's like,
Huh.
why do you got to come up to people and be like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what was the use in being super aggressive like that?
Mhm. And
Um.
I think that was the same guy that like Uncle Bill wasn't trying to argue with him. He was just, you know, thought he was following the process just like everybody else was. And this dude came over to him and said, "You're going to have to get out of this line and go back
Mhm.
to where you came from." I think over on the loading docks. And all Uncle Bill was doing was asking him, "Well, why do I have to do that? Why can't I, stand here?" And the guy said, "If you don't remove yourself from here and go back to where I told you to," I'm paraphrasing, of course, but he said, "I'm going to have you removed from this convention."
What?
And I'm like, "What is wrong with this dude? Who pissed in his cornflakes this morning?"
That's so bizarre. See, like crap like that is very discouraging to people to want to attend shows like that. And I get, for like people that are like staff members like that or like volunteers or whatever,
Mhm.
that shouldn't give people the impression that the people promoting the show are the same way if that happens. Because, there have been other shows I've been to besides Lexington Comic Con where there's been rude volunteers and stuff. But um, but I would know that the actual promoters are like good people and like they're really helpful and everything. But sometimes you just pick out a wrong person to be a volunteer. But with Lexington Comic Con, it's a bit different because of just some inside stuff that I have found out regarding the promoters of that show and what they have done, just because they wanted to be petty against Horror Hound, and thankfully they didn't do one of those things that they were petty about. They didn't do this past March because for several years, Lexington Comic Con and Horror Hound would either be like a week or 2 weeks apart. But
Mhm.
then suddenly, and Nathan has explained to me before in the past that like they have had those same dates like contracted with them for Horror Hound in those locations for years now. But then all
Mhm.
of a sudden, like it started, and this went on for several years, where Lexington Comic Con was putting their show on the same weekend as Horror Hound in Cincinnati. Um, and thankfully that didn't happen this past March. But
Right.
there's some other stuff regarding that, like I don't want to get into because I don't want to get no messages from people like say, "Hey, don't be talking about that stuff on YouTube." So,
You're right.
but
Yeah, I
but I
understand.
just will say it's regarding the Sam Raimi situation last year at Lexington Comic Con.
Mm,
But and that just added fuel to the fire for me for like why I don't and I will not ever again attend Lexington Comic Con. Um, and I want I they were really pressing me last year when Sam Raimi was there and Warwick Davis was there,
yeah.
and they had several other guests. I was like, man, I was like, that's cool. But I said, I just, the pride part of me is like, I'm not giving this show any more of my
Mhm.
money.
And if I had, somehow knew that Nathan was going to get Sam Raimi and Ted and Ivan all for Horrorhound, I wouldn't have went either. But I guess I was in that fear of missing out mode, and I was like, Steve, can we go? Because Sam Raimi's been on my bucket list for a long time, and he said, yeah, we can go. And then not my experience with Sam Raimi. My experience with Sam Raimi was wonderful, but the overall convention experience sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I will never go back.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like the last time that I went, like the crowd control was pitiful. I mean,
Mm,
it was so crowded that it was like asses to elbows everywhere
yeah,
you were at in that convention center or whatever it was. Um, but what I was saying was, while I'm sure there'll be people that will disagree what I'm talking about. Um, but the thing is, I'm just not a fan of com- of when a convention that is so close to another convention in location, because Cincinnati and Lexington is not very far away from one another.
right.
And when they're looking at that to say, well, because I know some people that did go to both Lexington Comic Con and Horror Hound when they were on the same weekend.
Hmm.
But, that right there is two different ticket costs
Yeah,
if you do that. That's like, and that's just basically competition. Like which show in a close
is
location is going to pull more people?
yeah,
Which one's going to make more money? I mean, and I hate when they look at it like that because it's not helping the fans that are attending these shows any at all. Because if you got so and so over here at this convention, and then like an hour away at this other convention that's on the same weekend has this person, you're like, well, I want to get both, but I gotta pay $50 to get into this show, and then go when I go over to this show, I gotta pay another $50 or whatever to
exactly.
get in there, and then that on top of that, you're getting the autographs and everything, and
Oh, goodness.
oh man, it's tough, and that's not something I can get behind. So, and also I may just be biased too. I don't know because Horror Hound is like my favorite show to attend.
Yeah, but it's your favorite for probably the same reason that it's one of my favorites is because the it's it's better put together. It's not complete chaos, and I think that's mostly due to how Nathan handles things. And sometimes, you might not like how things are presented, but then when you think about it, it's like, oh, okay, Nathan's doing this for a reason, or he's been asked to do these things
Yeah,
for
and
a reason.
I trust Nathan so because Nathan does. We're pretty close with him and his wife Jessica that run the show, um, and I trust everything that he's ever told me because he doesn't have any reason to lie to me as long as we've known him and stuff. But every time I've talked to him about something, whether it be something going on behind the scenes, the show or something another show is doing to try to like put Horror Hound down, there's always a legitimate reason and story behind everything
Yeah.
that happens. Um, and there's a lot of politics with these conventions.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't like that, but some people, you just they're going to do what they want to do regardless, just to get ahead.
And what something that bothers me is when fans get on, and I'm sure you've seen this, Chris. Fans will get on a horror hound on the actual horror hound Facebook page,
Yeah.
or it's another like an offshoot horror hound page, and they will argue with each other and get in fights over stuff like
Yes, yes,
we're
I
both
can't.
like,
Oh my god, that like I can't even process like why when that happens. I'm like, well, because it used to be I would like give my 2 cents on something, or like just try to like give my perspective. But
right.
now I'm like, what's the use? Because for the past several years, I see this stuff with horror hound, and not just horror, but other conventions, Scare Fest, other places like that. There's it's the same stuff every year, like same complaints about everything, like, and there's always a reason for some of those things that are having issues. Is not that at these shows, but if like what you was talking about that volunteer earlier, like when there's like rudeness and everything involved like that, you just throw everything that you was trying to reason with out the window,
Mm,
because yeah, there might be reasons for like them having issues, but I I seen a lot of fans complaining about the last horror hound in Indianapolis, how Robert England's line was
mhm,
handled and everything, and the thing with that is, yeah, there was some issues, and some people had to wait all day and eventually didn't end up getting to meet Robert.
mhm.
But that wasn't Horror Hound's fault. And as
Exactly.
much as I don't want to blame anybody, but if I had to blame somebody, that was Robert England's fault.
Yeah.
And as much as I hate to say that, because, and I don't think he does it intentionally though.
No,
Like,
I'm
he
sure
just
he does.
Robert England is just someone that likes to talk with his fans and tell them stories and have conversations with them, and that's it. That's admirable, really, because a lot of these celebrities at these shows won't even hardly talk to you.
They
But
won't even look at you or
but
anything.
Robert England will, and because he takes so much time with each fan at these shows, the wait time goes up for everybody else that's behind that person he's talking to in line.
Yeah,
Um, and there's no reason to blame the convention or its promoters or its staff or anything for
uh,
that, because they're doing their best to try to make all of these fans that are coming to meet these guests happy.
right.
And you can't always make everybody happy. There's always nothing's ever going to be perfect at these shows. People's got to realize that,
Mhm. And
because, and that's why they're putting this new thing into effect at the upcoming Horror Hound with Robert, because all these promoters that have booked Robert in the past know he is like that at each and every show.
yeah,
So they're looking at it in a way to where, while it is disappointing to a lot of fans because they're like, oh, that's not fair. Well, why do VIPs and Platinum get that, opportunity first? Well, yeah, when you look at it like initially, it's like it seems unfair. But if
right,
you know the process of how Robert's line works and how long he takes with these fans, it's saving you from having to wait in line all day, and
and
then
maybe not
might,
getting to
and
meet
might
him.
not even get to meet him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
'Cause
just
I'll admit, I was one of the people that was very upset and disappointed. I didn't go to social media and start carrying
well,
on,
I
but
was too, Dana. I'm not gonna lie. I was upset, but then I knew, especially because if it was any other promoter, I'd probably be like, "Well, that's bullshit" or something.
right.
But I thought, because it's Horror Hound, I know Nathan, and there's a process, there's a reason for why they're doing this. So I see it and I analyzed it, and I was like, oh well, yeah, that kind of makes sense. because that would really suck to wait in line all day and then Robert leave and you don't even get to meet him.
Yep.
And you
So
just
what
wasted your whole day at that point.
exactly. Yeah, because uh, people were in line for hours, and then some of the people didn't even get to meet him.
Right.
I would be devastated. I wouldn't be going up to the volunteers and staff and screaming in their face, but I would be terribly disappointed. I'd probably cry if I waited hours in line and then didn't get to
Well,
meet.
there's something like that similar happened to us one time with
Mhm.
when we was going to meet Bruce Campbell. So
Mhm.
um we only had tickets for like a Saturday at Horror Hound in Cincinnati, and Bruce Campbell was there. And this was like I think this might have been the first Horror Hound that we ever took CJ with us because I don't know if you've seen the picture before because like he dressed up as Ash and
Yeah,
had
I
the metal
remember
hand from Army of Darkness. So yeah, so that was I think CJ's first Horror Hound weekend, and then we were going to meet Bruce Campbell, so we were like standing in his line and everything to meet him, get his autograph, and then um, we were almost to the door to go in to meet him because they had him in a room by himself at
that.
this
Uh-huh.
one, and we were almost at the door, and then they cut the line right there,
Oh, no.
and we were like so upset. Which me and Kansas had already met him before, but we were super excited for CJ getting to meet him, but we didn't get to that night at least. So we were, going to stay overnight and then leave the next day on Sunday and just go home, not go to the show.
Yeah.
But I, we decided, like, you know what, we're going to go again tomorrow. We'll go in there and get tickets. And cause I said, we're going to make sure we meet Bruce Campbell because that was the deal. When they cut the line, they
Uh-huh.
gave everybody that was in line that didn't get to meet him on Saturday a little ticket.
Ah,
And it says, if you come tomorrow and present this ticket, then we'll take you to the straight front ahead the head of the line.
right.
And so they at least, made a deal with these fans. They didn't just completely screw them over
Right.
and say, so they kind of gave you like an extra thing. They didn't have to. Horror Hound did not have to do that,
Mm-mm.
but they did. But the problem was that we weren't going to be there the next day. But like I messaged Nathan and I was like,
Mhm.
"Hey man, it sucks. Like we were just coming today, and but they gave us this ticket. We don't have tickets for tomorrow." He's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And he like put me on this comp list where he gave us free tickets the next day.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying now don't go message Nathan and say like,
Yeah.
"Hey, can I get some
It's
free
like, "I
tickets?"
heard you did this."
But that's just something he did for me because I've known him for a very long time. We're
Yeah.
pretty close friends, so and he felt bad because for my brother in law because he said because he knew that he had like dressed up and everything, so he
Yeah.
just kind of felt bad for it. But and like I said, he didn't have to do that, but that just shows what kind of great person that Nathan is. And but we did go in the next day. We got those tickets on the wheel call list or whatever, and went straight to meet to Bruce and Bruce Campbell's like interaction with CJ was awesome
Yeah.
because he was like he really liked CJ's cosplay, and he was talking him up about like how he didn't he sees all these Ash cosplayers all the time, but he rarely sees anybody doing the metal hand from Army of Darkness instead of the chainsaw
Right.
hand. So
Mhm.
that really like impressed Bruce Campbell, and that made CJ's life because CJ loves the Evil Dead movies too, and CJ had been to some conventions with us before, but that was like I said, that was his first Horror Hound. We also met Clint Howard at that same show, and a few others, and it's really fun. And like I've got a lot of great memories from the Horror Hound shows, and
Oh, yeah.
um,
Me too.
and yeah, there's a lot of reasons I could go into as to why that's my favorite show, but I'll just leave it at that for now.
But, like I always say, I could go on talking all night, especially when Chris is on here, because Chris is so knowledgeable of stuff, and I just like having conversations with him because he's my friend, and it's good to just talk with your friends and stuff. And
I feel like when we have conversations like this, it's really healthy for us, like
mm,
to have these conversations of stuff that, especially when it's stuff that we're both interested in.
right,
Um, because I've there's been times I've came on here and done these streams with you, Dana, and like before I got on here, I wasn't having a great day, or like
yeah,
I had
right,
something in the back of my mind bothering me or something.
mm,
But once I start having conversations with you or whoever it is, and we're talking about things that we both love and passionate about, all that goes away. Every bit of it
yeah,
goes away, and just like, and then like, but it's still there, like after we're done talking, so it's still, but at least I feel better
yeah,
about because
yeah,
I've had a
exactly.
conversation about something that makes me happy.
Hmm. And I think we help each other. I think all of us help each other, because Batman's came in here and said he had a bad day at McDonald's, or I might have had a bad day at work. Chris might have had a bad day at work, or we might have had a spat with our significant other or something. It happens. It's just part of
Mhm.
life, and
Yeah, we're human, and unfortunately, we can't live 100% happy go lucky and perfect lives.
no.
That's just not realistic, people.
And speaking of not feeling real great or not feeling ourselves, this morning I wasn't able to do the Eurocult show with Steve and Dirk and Darren, and I wanted to because I just woke up this morning not feeling too great. But uh, thankfully, I felt better later in the morning, and I was able to do my movie munchies, and then I was able to come on here and do this watch along. But it just, I think probably I should have got up and just did the Eurocult show, but I was like,
Yeah,
I don't want to do
I,
it.
I missed that one today because I didn't get up until noon today. Because,
Well,
like I
you're
said,
probably wiped out from yesterday.
yeah, like I said, I was up at 5:30 in the morning yesterday, and then I left at 6. And I was up all day yesterday. I didn't go to sleep last night till about 2 a.m. So I was awake for close to 24 hours. So
Holy
probably about 20, 21 hours, something like that is what I was awake for.
cow.
And so when I finally just laid down and crashed out, like I said, I slept like a rock, and I didn't get up until noon today.
Yeah, well, I got up at what time did Steve get me up? About 11. So I wasn't much earlier than you was, Chris. Steve came in there and said, "You gonna get up? It's 11." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get up now." He said, "Okay." So I knew I had some things that I needed to do today. And actually, when we get done with this, I'm going to take care of a few things, but I think I'm going to work on the shop a little bit more, try to get some
So
products on there and stuff like that.
when are
But
you putting your candles up on there?
that's actually what I'm working on putting on there right
Oh,
now.
okay.
Or I started doing it a little bit before we went live with
Awesome.
this watch along. So I'm trying to get all the different candles that I've got available right now on there.
Can I ask you a question too? Like I seen
Mhm.
the your image for the movie Munchies you did today. Did
Uh-huh.
did you change the? Because it's I thought that you had maybe one of a normal base, something of normal base that looked a little bit different from that image.
I made a Norma Bates image that was different that will be used on the candle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
but those were both AI images. They were just
they're
different
really
ones.
cool looking. I think they're freaking cool looking.
Now, the thing about AI, though, and I've told Steve this, and I think he's talked to me about this, and then if you use AI for any amount of time, you will start to notice that the more you generate an AI image, like you can generate it as many times as you want to,
Hmm.
and it will give you different images every time. Something I've noticed is very weird. And I guess this is because AI is still kind of new. Sometimes you'll generate, let's say, 5 images in a row, and that fifth image, something will be weird about it. So I was doing one with Robert England and Scooby Doo, and one
Yeah.
of the images that got generated was Robert England's arm with Scooby Doo's leg and paw. I was like, wait a second here. That doesn't look right. But you will run into that every once in a while. It's kind of fun.
Is it when you generate those AI images? Is that something you have to pay for, or is there like a free program that you can do that
Well,
through?
um, I'm using something called GenCraft right now,
Uh huh.
and they have a free version of GenCraft, but you don't get to what is it called? Hold on just a second here. Unlimited prompts. When you pay, you get unlimited prompts, which means you can sit there and generate AI images all day long.
Uh huh.
If you get the free version, you only get a certain amount of prompts. So
Um,
it gives
that's
you
something
more
I don't
freedom
know.
to pay for it.
Yeah, I don't know much about it because that's something I haven't dabbled in yet. Is the AI stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, I know I have said like you, and there's other people I know that uses it, and I've seen some really like wild images, like that one, kind of like the thing you were talking about. I've seen some where it'll have like they'll have like an extra finger on their hand, or just have like an arm like coming out of their torso or
Yeah,
something.
they'll have something coming out of their head. I mean, like,
Yeah, it's
it's
crazy some of the
weird.
stuff I've
It,
seen.
and I was even like, if you've noticed Blissful's profile picture on here, she gave me an image of uh, what appeared to be a woman with her hair up, like
Hmm.
in a bun, reading a book. And she said, I was wondering if you could do something with the AI and maybe make it look different, like kind of have a romantic feel to it. So what I did was I put some keywords in there
Uh-huh.
and I made her about 3 or 4 images. And some of them though, I told her, I said, I didn't send these to you because there was weird things coming out of the woman's head and stuff like that. I was like, that is weird, but I gave her the ones where it looked like an actual woman with reading the
Um,
book.
so is that what you do? You just type in like keywords and it just generates based off those keywords?
Yeah, so for instance, today, the image I used for the movie Munchies, I went into GenCraft and I put in the little description box. I said, Mrs. Bates from Psycho baking cinnamon rolls. And that was one of the images that came up for that. So
That's
you
really
got to
neat.
get real specific before it'll really generate what you want. But
Uh-huh.
once you figure out, okay, what combination of keywords will work better for this image or that image, it's just a trial and error thing, basically.
Yeah, right.
And, some of those tea things that I did, like the Robert England, like the England's elderberry spice tea,
Hmm.
some of those turned out really good. It had them drinking tea or, pouring tea. But some of them, if you looked really close, it would have this teapot just floating in midair or this long thing coming out of their teacup. And I'd be like, that's kind of strange there. But
Super Batman Nerd says I seen a picture of a rake propped up against the wall, and I thought someone posted a beaver shot. I'm gonna need some kind of image to for me to look at to see that because I can't visualize that in my head.
yeah,
Whenever I hear
me
a rake,
personally, I don't know if I want to get that image in my head.
it's like this wasn't an AI image I seen. This is just something a meme that I had seen on Facebook somewhere,
Uh-huh.
and and the meme said like it showed this picture, and I'll explain what the picture was here in a minute, but it showed this picture and it said, if you saw anything other than a group of people, then
Uh-huh.
you have a dirty mind. And what it
Oh,
was, it would look like these like stick figure images where it's supposed to be, and like they're all standing and they're like got their arms out like this.
yeah.
But when you first see it, and maybe it's just because I have a dirty mind, but it looks just like a bunch of like bottom halves of naked women.
Oh, yeah.
The background is like a flesh tone color, so it looks like legs, and the this looks like the you know what of the woman.
Yeah, and I think all of us at one time or another have dirty minds, and we look at something, we're like, "Oh my gosh," you know. And Batman, I'm not going to read that, but
He's just stating the name of a Dukes of Hazard character, Dana.
is he? I don't mean to offend you, but I'm just going to play it safe. And if y'all want to read that to yourself, you
That
can.
is funny though, because did you ever watch the Dukes of Hazard, Dana?
Yeah,
Because that was like, I don't know if he was like related to him or not, but he always had a. It was called, the guy's name was Cooter. I'll just say
yeah,
that was his name, and he had like his company was Cooter's Towing,
yeah.
and I remember there was a place in Gatlinburg called Cooters, and it was like a Dukes of Hazard like museum that guy that played the character on the show, he ran that. And but when I first seen that when I was younger, because I knew what the one that Batman nerd is referring to, I knew that word, and I wasn't aware of the character on Dukes of Hazard. So when I seen that as a kid, I was like, "What the heck?" I was like, I hate to know what goes on inside that place.
Oh man, but Batman says, "I'll see if I can find the pic. I might send it to you, Chris."
Okay, okay.
But anyway, Chris, is there before we get off here for the night? Is there anything that you want to bring up, or anything else you want to promote?
Um, No, I can. Well, just if I guess I'll just promote as always your stuff, of course, first and foremost, because this is your channel, Dana. I think everybody should be out there supporting all your stuff that's watching right now. But I also say that that me and Candace, we do have the Death by Stereo podcast, and we just put out a few more episodes of some series we're working on right now. Hopefully, we're going to be doing some more stuff later on, other than just those two series. Hoping to get CJ on another episode. We
Oh
can
yeah,
him and
bless his heart. Y'all can't keep him awake long enough to.
well, I'm
to
telling you, they work him to the bone at Walmart, and it's
so
it's
bad for him.
tough right now for him. So that's why we've been having a hard time trying to get him to do some of these episodes with us. Um, we thought he was going to do this last episode of the Video Dead with us for the Meatloaf music video, but just his schedule didn't permit it, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, we got that going on, and I appreciate everybody that has checked out our stuff so far and subscribed and everything. Really, really, we do appreciate that more than you know. But also, other than that, I guess, I some of the past episodes and stuff that I've done with you, Dana, I guess I've talked about going to Wonderfest to meet Joe Dante, and that's unfortunately that's not happening now because he did cancel.
Oh,
Uh,
he did. Well, I'm glad you told me that because I hadn't talked to Steve about going.
yeah,
That's a shame, though.
he did cancel because, which it's for a good reason that he canceled. But it just sucks for me because I really wanted to meet him very
Mhm.
badly. But yeah, he had to cancel because of his filming schedule. So he's working on
Oh, shoot.
Little Shop of Halloween Horrors
Oh,
movie. I knew there had been rumors of that for a while that he was going to be doing a new Little Shop of Horrors, but yeah, it looks like the title is Little Shop of Halloween Horrors, and I
mhm.
don't know if it's like a sequel to the original or if it's like a remake or I really don't know. There's not a lot of details that's came out about that yet, but if I find anything else out, I'll be sure to let everybody know on here.
We'll just have to look ever forward to Horror Hound and September.
Yeah, yeah. That's another thing. Like, because Nathan's a big Gremlins fan. He's a huge Gremlins fan. He's probably
Mhm.
got more Gremlin stuff in his collection than I do. And unfortunately, I've already asked Nathan about that. I'm like, hey, I know you're a Gremlins fan. This year's the 40th anniversary, Nathan. Is Joe Dante coming to Horror Hounds at dinner? And it doesn't look like it, unfortunately, as of right now. But things could change. So
Mhm. Yeah, maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe not only will Robert England be there, but Joe Dante will be there.
man, I love me Joe Dante. I mean, it's just crazy, like the amount of stuff that he's worked on. I love.
Oh, thank you, Blissful. Blissful says tomorrow she'll post everyone's links on
Well,
her
thank you.
Facebook.
Yes, I would highly appreciate that. You don't have to do that, but that's awesome. I appreciate that.
Blissful is a big supporter of everybody. Unless you're a jerk, and then understandably so, she's not going to support you.
But
But
yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, because I'm the same way. Because like, if you're a jerk to me, then why would I do anything for you?
yeah, exactly. Um, and she says she wants to, and I know she does. She wouldn't do it if she didn't want to.
Give me the heart. There's my heart sign. If I can
There
make.
you go. Yep. But I guess we're gonna tie things up with a nice, neat little bow. And I've had a lot of fun before, during, and after the movie, talking about it with Chris and you guys and gals in the chat. And I will be planning on doing another Stephen's Kingdom tomorrow. Let's see what I'm going to be covering tomorrow. Hold on just a second here. I have to always look at my list here. Um, I'm going to try to cover Dublin's Cadillac, which is what I wanted to cover last week. Dublin's Cadillac, Bag of Bones, and if I can find it, Mercy. So hopefully we'll be able to cover all of those tomorrow. And then Tuesday will be another Everybody Wants England, which those are always fun. And yep, and then it'll be another apples and oranges on Wednesday. And we're going to be talking about, yeah, you guessed it. We're going to be talking about the Kubrick's version of The Shining versus Mick Garris's miniseries version of The Shining.
That's have you asked Uncle Bill if he wants to be on that show yet?
Yeah, I have asked him. I may have to remind him again. And I think CK wants to be on there too, but he says he's not watching that damn miniseries again. I said, you don't have to. I mean, just come on there.
Yeah, I may try to watch it though, because it's been a long time since I watched that miniseries. Because I
Mhm.
just watched the original Shining film. Like, I just watched it again the other day. So I mean, but even if I hadn't, I'm seen it so many times that I know everything that goes on in that one. But I've only seen the Shining miniseries once, and it was very long time ago. So
Mhm.
maybe if I do get on there with you guys that night, if I don't have anything going on,
Yeah, I'd love to have you on for
maybe
free.
I'm gonna see if I can rewatch that so I can kind of like because like I said, I remember some stuff from it, but like I don't remember everything. So
Oh yeah, Bliss. Well, I saw CK's comment on my movie Munchies. He was making out like I was poisoning my husband or trying to poison my husband.
well, he does have a good point, Dana.
Well, Steve ate two of those cinnamon rolls, and he's not dead. So there you go. I think the proof's in the pudding.
Yes.
Oh man. Uh, And Candace, oh, hun, don't worry about it. I mean, I know you'll get back to me when you can. This has been a very busy weekend for everybody, I think, and Mother's Day being today and all that stuff. I totally get it, and I know you'll get back to me when you can. But we're gonna call it a night tonight. I think Uncle Bill's gonna have Uncle Bill's tour of Italy tonight. Is that tonight,
Yeah, I think
Chris?
he's doing the
The
Umberto
Lindsay?
Benzi films. I think.
Yeah, so y'all, uh, that'll be in about 4 minutes. I think he does
Yeah,
those
so
again.
yeah, go jump on that.
Yeah, go jump on that. I was thinking about being on it, but I think gonna have to bow out on that tonight because I got too much else to do. But hopefully,
Same here with me because I think I'm gonna. Because I may go back and watch that show that he's doing here in a little bit, but I think I'm probably just gonna go spend some time with Candace to
that's
round out
a good
Mother's
idea.
Day. You know,
Yeah, yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. And so we're gonna skedaddle on out of here for the night. And as always, I want to remind everybody to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. And start your own channel if you want to, or your own
yeah,
podcast.
get
Or
to it, blissful.
Blissful still got to come on the stream, like whether she's on video or not. I'm never going to leave her alone till she comes in live on the stream. And also remember, if we can get me to 1,000 subscribers, I will do a Cheryl cosplay from the Evil Dead. And
And
Candace,
Candace said she'll do the Mrs. Roper one.
yeah, and we need to get you to do Mr. Roper, Chris.
Yeah, we'll see.
Then we got Mr. and Mrs. Roper and Cheryl from the Evil Dead. So you're working on content right now. That's awesome, Blissful. But anyway, we're going to get out of here. But everybody have a great rest of your night. You mothers, even if you're fur baby mothers, or fish mothers, or guinea pig mothers, or whatever you are still a mother. So you have a great rest of your Mother's Day, and we'll see everybody next time. So good night, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Good night.